Hello, everybody, and welcome to Book Club with Bay. I am Bay, and this is Bay. Say hi, Bay.
Hi, Bay.
And this is other Bay. Say hi, Bay.
Hello.
And I hope you guys are all doing good. Tonight we are talking about Blood Heir by... Crap. I just listened to it, and I just forgot how to say
Amélie
it. Thank you. Sorry, I spaced. And I don't want to pronounce names incorrectly because it makes me feel dumb. So yeah, we're talking about Blood Heir, and this was kind of a one-off, since this book got a ton of really harsh criticism before it was published way back when. Just to quickly address some of it very briefly, there were accusations of racism because of some of the slavery elements in the book, and then also some people had issue with some of the Russian stuff in the book.
Yep.
So those were the two main things that people had a problem with. So
I will say, just addressing the racism thing as well, the author herself was just like, this is kind of ridiculous. It's not it's based because she's Asian. She was born in Paris, but grew up in Asia, and by her name as well, you can tell she's at least has Asian.
She's Chinese, and she immigrated to the U.S. when she was 18.
Yep.
Yeah. But it's based on her own culture's historical slavery. It's got nothing to do with America is not the only country that has had slavery in its history. Was her point.
Yeah,
right.
Not all slavery has to do with African Americans.
Yeah, it was. A lot of the slavery themes are based on modern slavery. But yeah, so it's complicated. But yeah, so there were a lot of American-centric criticisms. And so the original publishing date for this book was supposed to be in June, and it was canceled, and then she decided that she didn't want to publish it, so it was published in November, and now here we are. I believe it's the first book in a trilogy.
I believe it is.
The second book will be called Red Tigress. Yeah.
So if we eventually decide to, when it comes out, if we want to do that, we will. But yeah, so without further ado, spoilers ahead, because this is
very much
Book Club with Bay, not spoiler-free book review with Bay. So that is your spoiler warning.
Yep.
We discussed the books in depth. Okay. Yep. So ratings, since we rate books with food. I will go first. I will say I was in a really weird mood today and yesterday when I was reading this book. I don't know why. I was just like, I want to do things other than read books. I don't think I would have enjoyed a book, like even my favorite book today. So I'm rating this based on a really, how I would have felt on a really good day. But I think this would be a generally good dinner. You went out and you had a nice time.
A good time, then.
Everything was good. Everything was hot, and everything was good. Nothing went wrong.
So it was like a steakhouse dinner.
It was a good steakhouse dinner. Your drink was refilled at all the right times, that kind of thing.
I actually think that sounds pretty fair. That's a pretty fair food rating, Faye.
Everything was good.
So you've extrapolated the food reference out to a dining experience.
Well, that's I did. I did. I fudged the rules a little bit because I wanted it to encompass my feelings.
That's okay. No, well, like I said to you guys earlier as well, I haven't read a new book that wasn't House of Night Otherworld or Gamble Brothers. in months. All the books I've been listening to recently are books that I already know. And it was very delightful reading, listening to a book that was new to me and wasn't bad.
Yes.
So I think that is also really, I don't know, maybe I'll have to reread the book to get a better idea of how I genuinely feel about it, because I feel like I'm very biased as well at the moment, just by comparison.
Yeah.
But no, I really enjoyed it. I would probably, you know what, I'm just going to steal yours, babe, because that seemed good. That seemed like a good rating, and you stole mine last week, so.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to steal it again because I believe it was a good balanced meal, man. Like, I'm in kind of the same situation as Mara, where it's like the only good books I've been reading recently are like the Outlander series, which if you know anything about it, those books are like 1,400 pages with just full of so much information that this was just a nice, like, it was just a very nice change of pace.
And you never get to do good book weeks with us.
I never get to read good books.
It was a toss-up. We didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah, we didn't know if this was going to be good or not. So
we didn't know.
Good.
And so here we are. And it was good. And
yeah, Adam was here with us for a good book week. So
we'll see. And before we like really get into it, there are a few things I kind of want to talk about, like before we jump into characters and plot and all that, and just sort of like my general feelings on it. So like one thing is the prose. I really, really liked the prose of the book.
Yeah.
But I felt also like the generic problems I had with the book kind of stemmed from how good the prose was. So the book reads more like an adult book, in my opinion, than a YA book. And I think that kind of caused a couple of problems because of the ages of the characters.
Yeah, and this is where a new adult genre that isn't porn would come in real handy.
Yes.
Yeah, and it kind of sucks just because like had the characters been older, a publisher never would have picked it up.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't know that this book exists.
Yeah.
Which is a shame, because it would have made the book a lot stronger had the characters been 2 years older. And like that's really one of the only changes that I would have made to the book.
Or if they kept it vague. Because like I think they kept the main male character, his was fairly vague. Like if I sat here and thought about it for a few minutes, I'd probably figure out how old he is, but like I don't want to, because in my head he's like 21 and it's fine.
I think that's probably around what he would be though.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the main character being as young as she is, like it
18.
Narratively, like what happens in the book, and it would have worked a little better, or a lot better in my opinion, if she had been allowed to be a little older. Like this has sort of the opposite problem that Jenna Moressi's books have, where her books are adult and they're written in the style of YA. And this book is YA written in the style of adult. And that style change doesn't necessarily translate well all the time. But because I read a lot of adult books, I prefer that style. So I really enjoyed listening to the prose a lot. I really liked it.
I think part of it as well is because this was high fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I have found is, like, especially, I mean, most high fantasy are also adventure books as well.
Yeah.
Because that's how we've learned about the world. We have to go on an adventure. But I think that in and of itself, unless it's like, you know, distinctly for like 10-year-olds, it's very difficult to write a high fantasy in a YA setting.
Yeah, I think so too.
So I think that's probably where some of that also came from. It was just a happenstance of the genre she picked.
Right. And then also, because, like, for example, Mark Lawrence's first book, Prince of Thorns, the main character is 14 and 10 in that book.
Yeah.
And it doesn't read like it's having the same issues, because in the second book, the main character is then 14 and 18. And it doesn't read like it's having these problems because it's specifically targeted as an adult book. And
yeah, I can't remember the name of the series, but I've read one where, like, in between each book, there's about like the first and the second book have about a 10-year time jump. In the first book, the main character is 8 years old, but it's an adult book.
right. And so I think like she could have been 18, but had we just like let it be an adult book rather than trying to straddle this weird line. Like I think her writing style is so perfect for the adult genre, but like publishers are they're just not confident in the adult genre right now.
Yeah.
So they're just like not letting it happen. But overall, that's like my only complaint.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mine was like, I didn't mind, especially because it is high fantasy, but then also because she's noble and like she's a princess and whatnot as well. Some of the pronunciations of stuff didn't bother me too much in the audiobook. Like, captain in the audiobook is Capitan.
That's how it's spelled.
Yeah. But then there was some other ones that where I was just like, really? And I'm like, I don't know if this is the narrator's fault or the author's fault, but it's bothering me. Like, chocolate was chocolat.
Yeah, it's also just spelled. So like in the back of the actual book, there's a glossary with everything in the back of it. There's also a map in the beginning of the book, which I would pull it up, but it's like this big in the ebook version, and it's just not worth it. Like no one would be able to see anything, but like it does include some like nice snippets of stuff like that.
Yeah, and the one that really annoyed the crap out of me though was, and you confirmed as well that this was because of the spelling, it's not the narrator's fault.
This drove me nuts too, actually.
Cologne in this world is Cologne. Cologne. I'm like, that is not the word.
And like I get it, but it was also like reading it wouldn't have been.
Yeah, it wasn't jarring to me whatsoever.
Reading it would not have been jarring. It would have just been like, ew, Russian. But listening to it was annoying. Listening to it was kind of irritating because like reading it, you can ignore it and just pronounce it in your head like you normally would. Listening to it, you're like, you're forced to sit through it. So that's the only other thing.
And what was a bit jarring as well was, again, because I haven't read this book before and everything as well, initially at the beginning, I was trying to work out if she was saying affinity wrong. But
no, it's the race.
It's Aphenite. Yeah. So it's Aphenites who have affinities. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Once that was established, that no longer bothered me.
Yeah, writing down notes for it, every time I tried to write down Aphenite, it was just affinities. So like that's just in my notes what the people are called as affinities. I also didn't write down a lot of names other than our two main characters, so that's really great.
So, can you show us how Cologne or Cologne was spelt in the book?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure
because I'm curious.
Yeah, let me pull it up.
And I hope you guys have good notes because my notes stop at chapter 2.
I have very in-depth notes.
Good. Your notes are going to carry this stream.
Okay. Let me see.
And yes, I did change my hair. We are now a gradient.
But
hang on, I'm trying to.
But not
because I gradient in hair length as well. I think is that his hair shorter than yours, babe?
Yeah, I think either that. Yeah, I think yours might be a tiny bit shorter than mine.
It won't let me share my screen because my Google settings were
just
changed. Yeah, I was just gonna share the whole glossary, but let me just find. Oh, it's just Cologne with a K.
Oh, okay.
It's just Cologne with a K.
Well, that's still not an excuse to pronounce it Cologne then.
And consultant is spelled with a K. Like they're just things are just spelled with Ks.
It's better like that. I guess
I will send chocolate.
Okay.
I'm gonna send chocolate. That's how chocolate is spelled.
You know what though? If it's from the sound of it, then she wrote things phonetically. Like so, she did a K when it's a hard C.
I don't know what things actually
I can be a bit more
are in
forgiving of that.
the English pronunciations of Russian, so I don't know how accurate any of it is, but
Yeah.
Yeah, I do like reading some of the reviews on Goodreads about even like the Russian names and stuff. I know that people had issues with like the last names and like I think Anna's name and
I did notice that she has the same name as.
she is a masculine last name when she shouldn't or something like that. And
It's
someone
a fantasy world. Just like you can change chocolate to chocolate. Then
yeah, like
somebody
fantasy.
someone I'm friends with, who is a booktuber that I'm friends with, pointed out, and I thought this was kind of funny. She was like, "Well, think of all the times that people of color have complained about their cultures being appropriated incorrectly, and whoops, like it's." Like honestly, it is not that big of a deal.
no.
How can a last name be masculine? So in Russian naming conventions, this is actually a thing. Your last name would typically change depending on your gender. So if you're female, your last name does change. You would have the same last name as your family members, but the ending sound of your last name is different.
Yeah.
So like in Spanish where it's R-O.
Yeah, in Vampire Academy, Victory's last name is Belikov. His mother and sister's surnames are Belikova.
Right.
Because there's an A on the end because they're female. Whereas his nephew's last name is also Belikov. Because masculine, feminine.
In English, we dropped that because as somebody explained it, in English, we decided, fuck that noise. Let's call a spoon a spoon. It doesn't have a dick. Who gives a shit? But you can also see remnants of this in our language because, for example, we still gender objects in our everyday lives. Like, for example, we still call ships she.
And cars and
stuff. So we still in our culture may retain some of those old things that we used to have, even though we don't use it like in the actual conjugation of the words. So that's why we do that. Actually, if you're ever wondering why we call ships she's and cars she, that's why. Cars, we do it because we used to do it to ships. Obviously, cars, like we didn't have cars.
They're rowboats.
Yeah, like we didn't have cars when, like, by the time we had cars, we had dropped all that, but because we had ships and, cars and ships are similar, obviously, but that's why we do it to ships. That's why ships are girls. The word used to be feminine.
And in Latin languages, those languages are also highly genderized as well. Like, and like not just names or anything like that, but like the names of objects. Like cat is gato, which is a masculine.
Right.
Yeah, you hear that, cat? You're masculine. Oh God, cat, please. God. In case you can't tell, she does not want to be anywhere except for my body right now. She's not having not being here. Don't know why.
She usually only does that to me.
It's a cat. That's why.
She knows. She just knows.
She knows I'm here.
She's like, by proxy, I must do this. Nope, she's settled onto her spot now.
Okay, good. Yeah,
but,
so
I like, especially when it's a high fantasy book, I could be very forgiving of any raping of whatever language.
Yeah,
exactly.
Honestly, that's how I feel. Because also, like, if you're adopting something and you're changing it, like, fuck it, go nuts. I mean,
high fantasy is place to do it.
Yeah, and you're taking inspiration from something, and you can take inspiration from whatever you want. Because also in high fantasy, things get so fucking complicated. If you don't want to overcomplicate the last names, like that's the place to simplify shit, because the names are where shit's going to get crazy. You have enough names to throw at us anyway. If you want to simplify the last names, why the fuck wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Like that's honestly, I mean, like it might not be a choice that I would make because I really like linguistics and stuff. I might simplify something else, but I completely understand the choice. And
Exactly.
like I would simplify something different than what she simplified. Like I wouldn't go through and like do the wording that she did. But I wouldn't simplify the names. But like that's a personal choice that I would make. That's a creative choice that I would make because I'm not the same author. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yep.
It's a fantasy book, and it's not a big fucking deal.
Yep.
And also just and any criticisms about any of the Russian inspiration in general. Who cares? It's like honestly, the story of the Tsar and everything, regardless of whatever your opinions of him and the Russian empire in general were. It's a pretty interesting story, and it has a lot of inspiration that can be drawn from it.
Yeah.
And that's the point. Like, no one would be upset. Like, actually, no, there would be people upset, but it would be like if, for example, as well, like you wanted to get inspiration for a world dictator in your high fantasy novel, and you looked to Hitler.
Oh, like Star Wars?
Yes. Yes, like it's not that big a deal. If something's in real life, no matter how horrendous or whatever it is, if it's interesting and it helps you craft your world or characters, who cares?
Yeah.
Well, and it's the same thing. Like people have, goddamn, people have retold Cinderella a million different ways.
God, I
Don't
know.
stop it. Like people have retold Shakespeare a million different ways. Like
how many times have you read Romeo and Juliet? Probably 50 different iterations.
Right, exactly. There are so many different ways like that you can take inspiration from something, and as long as it's like unique and you do something interesting with it. Honestly, Anastasia, like the movie, the musical animated movie, is one of my favorite movies from childhood. So I was
when I was little.
So I was excited to read this book because of that, because most people don't do anything with Russia or with, because also Vampire Academy made me interested, like between like the Anastasia the movie and then Vampire Academy, just because Russia, I was like, I'm interested in this book because of those reasons. And so I was,
Russia has a very interesting history.
Right.
Regardless of any issues that you have with Russia, it has a very interesting history. And if that forms and if inspiration from that forms is the basis of your plot, so be it.
And honestly, like, my thing is that when you're creating something, you know, how true you want to be to your source material is totally up to you. Mm-hmm. Even if it is a real culture, simply because like that's like your creative springboard, and you should do what makes sense for the world and what's going to make sense for the reader experience. So if simplifying the last names makes sense, do that. If simplifying whatever makes sense, if tweaking something makes sense, then do that. Like, just do whatever works.
And before anyone jumps in with, oh, but you weren't so generous with House of Night. No, the issue that we had with House of Night was, like, I didn't have an issue with them drawing inspiration from the Ravenmockers and Kelowna from Native American history. But when they're trying to make out, like, the history of the world is still pretty close to what it is.
It wasn't high fantasy.
Yeah, and when they just straight up got their facts completely wrong.
Yes.
When they're supposed to be accurate.
Yep.
They also acknowledged that the Trail of Tears happened, but they forgot that the Cherokee were part of the Trail of Tears. They weren't native to Oklahoma.
Nope, not at all.
That's where the issue is. They're trying to present it as, no, this is based on our actual history, but we forget our history.
Yep.
That's what the issue with that was.
Yeah. Yeah.
It wasn't
Like,
inspired by. It was supposed to be accurate.
yeah, like for example, my magic system for the Rosalie Watson series is based on stuff, but it's based like culturally on nothing. And like I have a whole bunch of history stuff that hasn't been like revealed in the books, but I have it written down and the places where it comes from and stuff. I have ignored all the cultural traditions from all the places, and I've just been like, fuck it. I want to do my thing from the places, and because it was just like, I don't give a shit. Not because I don't give a shit, but I just was like, I want to do it this way. And the thing is, if you're going to do stuff in the real world and you're going to tie it into the real world, you have to like acknowledge the things that happened and you have to like weave it into that. So you can't be like, the homeland of the Cherokees was Oklahoma.
Bitch, no, it wasn't.
No,
Yeah,
it wasn't.
and same with the creeks or whatever the fuck they were called. Creek?
Yes, it was like it was fucking like that. That's just
It
laughable.
was ancient Creek land, even though the creeks have only been there for, a century or been over a century. It's ancient land.
If they had just changed the name of the tribe,
Yeah, literally.
Or if they had just removed, or if they said it's ancient Native American land.
Yeah, if they just didn't name what tribe it was.
Or just the land has aligned itself to the Creek tribe.
they could have changed the wording of all of this a little bit and avoided everything. Like, it wouldn't have been a problem. I mean, Patricia Briggs has woven everything into real life and done it fine. And you don't have to be that. You don't even have to be that specific. Like, that's pretty much what I've done. Is like in my stuff, I'm just not that specific because I'm not tying it into a lot of cultural stuff.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If you're going to be specific, be accurate. But high fantasy, you can be as specific and inaccurate as you want because it's high fantasy.
Yep.
Yeah. And yeah, so that's where I stand, like, on the, it's not completely, just getting back to this, I think that's where we stand on the, it's not completely perfect when it comes to the Russian language. It's like, and are we in Russia? No, we're not.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
we're in, I don't even remember what country it's called.
Yeah.
We're in somewhere else.
And like,
it starts with a set. I know that much.
And like we just said, given that we have all these other complicated naming conventions as far as the words go, personally, I think that simplifying the actual last names, not the worst, not the worst decision to make narratively. Like, when you're throwing Cologne at me, if you're also going to be throwing gendered last names at me, the first read through, I'm going to be a little more thrown off. So I don't think it was a bad decision.
Yeah, no, I'm fine with what was done. It was just a bit jarring at first, and then stuff like Cologne, just every time they said it, I heard it as Cologne. I knew what she was saying, but I was just like, that's not how you say that. If you're gonna have like that is one thing that I would recommend to a lot of people in high fantasy author build. If you're gonna use concepts from real world, try and keep it as close to the actual word for that. If not, just keep the word. Fuck it. Like, in this world, a horse is a horse.
That's what we did with Blackwoods.
French doors.
We have French doors in a place with no France.
Like, it just makes it.
Well, the reason, I'll just explain this. The reason why we did that was because we were sitting there, like, how do we describe? We were sitting there talking to each other, like, should we sit here and describe ornate double doors in a long paragraph, or should we just cut the bullshit
Not waste
and say
your time.
French doors? Because you, the audience, because we're in third person, and you, the audience, are aware of what fucking French doors are.
Know your audience.
And like, if you were gonna write a high fantasy world and like there's a cottage in it that has Dutch doors, I wouldn't be. I wouldn't write, a door that where it opens, you can open it in 2 parts or 1 part or whatever. I wouldn't try and work that out. I'd just write Dutch doors.
Yeah, like we have a name for that, and life is too short for us to be like ornate double doors.
Yeah, there's some things that are much easier to do. Like if you don't want to have if you don't want to use a phone or a cell phone or mobile phone, telephone, any of that, there's easier ways where you don't even need to describe it, like your communication device.
Well,
that's what we call them. We call them
yes.
discs and communication devices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And
because
because people that is something that is quickly and easily like, oh, that's what that is. Like that's what a phone is. It is a communication device.
Right.
And people can
we can transfer that to high fantasy and you know what that is. But like French doors, there's not another word for that that's not French door. It is a French door and fuck it.
Yeah. That's just how you do it.
That's the word that we have for it, and I'm sorry that it's like that. But you speak English, we speak English, and that's what we call them.
And we have France here. So
anyway, all of that aside,
characters.
Okay,
now
I guess we'll do Anna first then.
Yes.
Yeah, Anna. Anna's our main character.
Yes, Anastasia. Insert rest of name here.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm not going to try pronunciations.
Okay, I have a question as well about her title, right? Because when the audiobook, it sounded like they were calling her Ghost Princessa, but I know that it wasn't Ghost. What the hell was in front of Princess or Emperor or
I'll find it.
Thank you. But while you're looking for that, so we have...
So Anna is 18 years old. She is a blood Athenite.
The only blood Athenite?
The only blood Athenite. She is the princess of...
Insert empire name here.
It's the Cerulean
Empire. She is the princess of the Cerulean Empire. And
I think that's also where they got a bit upset with the Russian thing, because isn't their writing Cyrillic?
Yeah.
Sorry, that went over my head when I was listening to it. But anyway,
it didn't go over my head, because at first I was like, but then I was like, we're in high fantasy, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. Close.
Had we not been in high fantasy, I'd have things to say about that. But we're in high fantasy. You can do shit like that, and doesn't matter.
It's fine.
Yeah,
you can say things. You can say those things.
The word they say before it is Kolst.
How do you spell
Kolst?
Okay. What does Kolst mean?
Let me go to the glossary. Can you actually scroll? Thank you. Glorious emperor, glorious princess.
It's funny because when you actually look up Kolst meaning as well, it actually kind of works in terms of her. It's this I can't say words today. Fucking superlative of coal in Belgium. Which means difficult or troublesome.
That is great. She is difficult and troublesome.
Yes. Yes,
she
is.
Loves to threaten people. My God. It made me so irritated sometimes. I was like, stop threatening people. Gah.
Yeah.
Well, also, as a parent as well, all of her empty threats just made me mad. I'm like, this isn't how you be scary. If you're gonna you do not threaten anything you are not willing to follow through on.
Yeah, which does show her age. It does show her age.
Yeah.
And then, so fun fact about our male lead, I thought his name was Ransom for half the book because my brain just saw the word Ramson and it just changed it to Ransom. So I genuinely thought his name was Ransom, and I was like, "Oh, that's funny! Haha, they're gonna ransom him off for money or something." And no, it's Ramson. I fucking love Ramson.
Half the time when I heard it as well, I heard it as Ransom.
Well, because you had said that before I started reading, none of that happened to me. So
Yeah.
But
okay, but
so
we didn't actually describe Anna at all.
yeah, so Anna is
Sorry, I was reading while you were
troublesome. She's like, so this book is written real quick.
Everyone thinks she's dead and that she killed her father.
Yes, real quick. This book is written from third person, and we swap perspectives between Ramson and Anna. And being in floating around Anna's head is fine. It's fine.
She also has severe PTSD.
Yes, it's not my favorite place to be.
But she's not the worst MC's head.
Yeah, no, like it didn't murder anything for me. Like there were times when I wasn't happy to be near her head, but it wasn't miserable.
I liked Ramson's internal dialogue.
Yes,
a lot more.
I did like his internal dialogue.
I really like him as a person. So like,
yeah, I was happier being in his head.
Yeah.
Yeah. So her quest for this book is to find her father's real killer and get her title back.
Yeah.
The alchemist, I think his name is Peter.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing that I actually would be curious to see if we continued with this series is like what Anna's growth would be like.
Yeah, same. Because I'm assuming there's going to be some sort of jump.
See growth in this book, but I'm curious to see where she ends up.
Yeah, like because given that this book was actually good, I would be curious to see where where a character like this is actually taken, because normally a character like this is left like this and you're just like, it's just like this and we just have to live with this, but I don't think we have to live with this.
No.
So
I think we saw well enough growth from her. Like we saw that she had grown from the night her father died to now.
Yes.
Like we also saw that she'd been growing ever since she found out she was an Athenite. So she's already been. We already know that if none of that had happened, she'd be just a spoiled brat right now.
Mm-hmm.
So we've already seen how events have shaped her, and I think in the course of this book, we saw how the current events were already starting to shape her further.
Yeah.
So I think we'll get growth.
I think we will too.
Yeah. So that's the other reason why, even though sometimes it wasn't as happy to be in her head, I didn't mind it as much, because it's not like an Alex situation or a Zoe situation where I'm like, we're just gonna sit here and it's just like this.
It's just
yay.
And like an example is at the end as well, when she thinks that the alchemist did betray her again, type thing.
Yeah.
But then she's like, but I thought he was telling the truth. That's my gut instinct.
Yeah. So
I'm going to trust what he told me. Whereas I think at the beginning of the book, she wouldn't have even done that. She would have gone, no, fuck him, he's a liar.
Yeah, and she would have threatened him and tried to kill him.
Yes. Yes, like she does with many people at the beginning of this book.
Yes.
Yes.
And even she does start threatening people less overall.
Yeah, well, especially after Ramson is like, well, you're already, like, if you were going to actually torture me, that would have happened exactly 45 seconds ago, and it hasn't happened yet. So I'm assuming you're full of shit. So let's carry on with the day then, shall we?
And she's like,
oh, he called me on my bluff. Shit, dude.
Shit. All right. And we're all sitting here like, bitch.
Exactly.
So that's the other thing too, is that like she doesn't actually get away with shit. So where
there's
a lot of
consequences to her actions as well.
She continuously gets kidnapped though. My fucking god.
Yeah, poor girl.
Yeah.
Happens quite a few times.
I think she got kidnapped 2 or 3 times in this.
2 or 3 times.
Yeah, that's a lot for one book.
lot
Okay.
of
Also,
kidnapping.
A lot happened in this book, though.
yeah.
A lot.
Well, I guess we'll move on to Grayson then.
And we're going to be
yes.
messing up this whole stream, probably.
I messaged you guys this before, but as soon as I read he was younger than I thought, or younger than I expected, I was like, love interest.
Yep. So was I.
That's what I did.
So real
Scene
quick.
1
With Ramson,
when she walked in and
Scene
saw him, I
1,
was
we
like,
were all like, love interest, let's see them bang. Like, that's where we all were.
and
Yeah.
my God, do I want them to bang now, especially now.
That would have been on like if we were reading the print version. I think that line would have been on page 2, maybe 3 of the book.
It was early as shit.
It's
so good.
Yeah, that we normally don't even meet the love interest until chapter 2, chapter 3. So it was. So I wasn't expecting him like her to, because it starts off she's going into a cell to see someone.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't expecting the person in the cell to be the love interest.
Neither was, you know what? And I actually liked that. I really liked that
too.
because also like nothing love interesty comes like traditionally. I guess traditional YA love interesty.
She'd be lusting from the second.
Yeah, like none of that like comes of it like right away, which it's a lot more natural.
She thought he was hideous. She thought he was hideous until after he had a shower. And
yeah. It was a lot more realistic and handled adultly.
Yeah.
And I really liked it. Like I was so into that. I was like, this is great. It's supernatural.
And their progression was very natural.
It really was.
You know the 2 main deaths in this? I predicted both of them as soon as soon as we met the first one, I'm like, that person's dying.
I was like, that bitch dead.
And then as soon as like I actually had worked out what the fuck was going on with the family type thing in terms of you know, the fact that as soon as like, because we find out it's like it takes about half the book to find out her full family history.
Yes.
As soon as like it was clear the dynamics of their relationship was hella clear and everything about the other one, I was like, dead.
Yep.
Dead by end of
So for the ebook version, it's about 590 ebook pages, and on page 6 he's introduced.
But like I said, like
so good.
But he's kind of a jerk.
Yeah.
And I love it.
That's also how you know. That's also how you know he's the love interest. He's like, oh, he's a young criminal.
Exactly.
Of course, he's the love interest. She's going to make him want to be a better man.
Yes. God, I love it.
It's not done.
I don't mind the trope. I don't mind the trope.
Well, because it's done really well. Like when the trope is done stupidly, it's really dumb.
Yep.
But when it's done well, it works. It works great. And I'm into it.
He doesn't just sit there and he doesn't tell you that he's a shady con man. He just is a shady con man.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's no telling.
That's what half of it is.
Yeah, there's no telling. He doesn't ever tell you he's a shady con man.
His actions tell you that he's a shady con man.
And then when she's like, but you told me this other thing, he's like, just like, I didn't tell you shit.
Yeah, he's like, I didn't tell you anything.
Have you forgotten who you're talking to? And she's like, oh yeah, he's a con man.
Yep. She's like, I've been bamboozled, and you're like, yeah, you have. Fucking him now, please.
Yeah.
Why are you making me wait? Make out, god damn it.
There were so many moments where they were about to, and I was like, I'm gonna die. Like, this needs to happen.
I'm kind of dreading book 2 though, because love triangle's coming back in book 2.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
How her and Yuri left things. I love you too.
But
and
I think
you can tell that his I love you wasn't I love you. His I love you was I'm in love with you, not we're mates.
It's fine. She's gonna end up with Ramson. It's fine. She's gonna end up with him. He's already in love with her, dude. Like she's already a little in love with him. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, but also like what else? Like in terms of the trope thing as well, the 2 deaths that I predicted. I don't mind that. I don't mind being able to predict something if how we get there is good enough.
Interesting as shit. Yeah.
Yeah, and the other that's the other thing too is like I don't really care about being able to predict something. It just doesn't matter to me.
Well, especially like in Mercy Thompson and Alpha Omega, most of the books we pegged the bad guy from like chapter 3.
Yeah, and the other thing is like if a book doesn't have a plot twist, I couldn't care less. I really don't, because the thing about plot twists, our thing, at least, because I know for Addie and me, just with writing, and both of you have listened to me plan books for years now. My thing with plot twists is that when you focus too hard on a plot twist, you lose focus on the actual plot, because you're sitting there like, how do I trick the audience?
Person in plain sight.
Right, and you stop focusing on the actual story, and you're setting things up that don't make sense to make a plot twist work. And usually you leave things in there that like shouldn't be there, or you put something in that shouldn't be in there just to like make a plot twist happen, just so you can be like, haha, bamboozled the audience. And then it's like, yeah, but the story was dumb. Whereas like if you just focus on the story, even if it's predictable, the thing, like the way that we get there might not be. And it might be good if you had just not focused on the plot twist. So, like, I don't mind. And, like, if there's not a plot twist, I don't give a fuck. Just make the book good.
But Ramson's, like, little backstory is he was, like, the vice, like, the number 2 at a big crime organization.
The deputy.
Deputy.
Which I fucking stand that. I live for that shit.
Right?
Yeah.
And... yeah.
He was sent on a mission and got betrayed and arrested.
Yeah, so that's why he's in jail right now. But he's really good at finding people, which is why Anna is going to like talk to him in prison and be like, "Hi, I need you to find the guy that killed my dad." And that's the premise of this book.
His adopted surname is Quick Tongue.
His.
Which I guess I can also forgive because high fantasy, but also Quick Tongue as a surname. Not a nickname. He was known to everyone as Ramson Quick Tongue.
Yeah, but everyone also knew it was fake. Like, one of the first things she said to him was like, I'm assuming this is not your real name. And he's like,
yeah, what's your real name? And he's like, how dare you ask that? What's wrong with you?
He's like, excuse you? And she's like, everybody else is fucking Russian, you jerk.
Yeah.
And he's like, no.
He's like, this is a perfectly normal last name, Anna. God.
How could you?
Okay, next character, I guess May.
Yeah, May.
Yeah.
May.
Yeah, she's a little kid.
Yeah, so like...
she's the child baggage.
Like, if you've ever read or watched Hunger Games, May is Rue.
Bye. Sorry. Say bye to Papa.
She is. I read one comment on Goodreads that this book is a lot like not structurally, but like a lot of the themes are similar to Hunger Games. And ever since I read that, I was like, oh shit, dude. It's true. So
yeah, May is, who gives a fuck about spoilers because we're going to spoil it. And
is Rue, yeah.
Yeah, May dies. And as soon as we met May, I was like, she's going to die.
Same.
Yeah,
She's not getting out of this alive.
Well, I was also kind of, as bad that I was hoping she was going to die.
She was child baggage, man.
Well, I was like, dead weight, get rid of her.
Plus, she was just like,
But I did like her attitude, though. Like, when she meets Ramson, she's just like, you do anything wrong and I'll cut you. And then him and Anna get into a little bit of a tiff over, like their trade or whatever.
Yeah.
And then he just looks over at me and he's like,
yeah, May's a little sassy one. She is.
Yeah, she is. Like, and the thing about May is that when she's threatening people, she means it.
It's also true.
Anna.
Yeah, so I will say, as far as child baggage goes, it was kind of sad to see her go.
Yeah,
I was
she's just trying to find her mom.
I expected it, but she wasn't a useless piece. Like, you know how like usually like the child baggage is literally just useless and does nothing but get in the way.
Yes.
She didn't.
No,
Yeah.
she didn't.
She held her own.
So in that respect,
Yeah, she had the feel of like a kid who's been on her own
Yeah.
and has had to do shit. She's
also an Earth Athenite.
Yes.
Yes.
Pretty fucking cool.
I
Who
guess
else
next
cares?
we'll do Peter the Alchemist.
Yeah, Peter's the alchemist guy that killed her dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's got torn loyalties that aren't completely his fault.
Very, yes.
And there's Stantor, Staden. What the fuck was that guy's name?
Which?
The tortury dude.
Oh, I have no idea. Like
the one that tortured Anna.
Yeah, there's a guy that tortured Anna back in the day
I forget.
to increase her
I think it's
tolerance
like
to this potion.
Or Staden.
I can find it.
He's towards the end, not that much. He's pretty.
Yeah,
big
he's
boss.
in there quite a bit towards the end, so it won't be hard to find his name. There's also Alaric, who is the crime boss.
Yes. He's a shady son of a bitch.
Yeah, he is shady.
Then we have Lynn.
Yes, Lynn is someone who comes in at the end. We also have Luca and Morgana.
Yeah. Luca is her brother.
Mm-hmm. And Morgana is her aunt.
And the emperor of the realm. And Morgana is like her aunt, but in like an adopted aunt, like family friend kind of aunt.
Yeah.
Not mother's or father's sister aunt.
Sadov. If I botch the pronunciations, I'm so sorry. I'm not good at good at it.
Whatever. Yeah, so ultimately he's a bad dude and he's allied with Alaric and the major antagonist. Do we want to spoil who that is right now?
Yeah, fuck it.
Yeah, it's Morgana or Mamika.
I've just called her Auntie in my notes.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not going to try to write down these names, man. I just for typing stats' sake, Auntie is her name.
Yes. Yeah, she's the major antagonist of the book.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's
of the series, probably.
Oh, and then Yuri.
Oh, yeah, fucking Yuri. Yuri's her childhood friend who we think's gonna love this bitch. I met him and I was like, fuck no. No. No.
I hope that him and Lynn end up together just to avoid any.
Isn't Lynn a child?
I thought she was like 15, 16.
I think she's a child.
She's trained for years though before she came.
She's also enslaved.
Addie.
What?
Yeah, but they're all.
Can you look it up?
Yeah, I'm gonna go find
it. Look up her name. How the fuck old is Lynn? Oh God.
Yeah, just type in Lynn.
Yeah.
Or Win. What was her thing?
Something. I just typed in Lynn. It's searching right now. Okay, my name is Lynette. There we go. We can go back a few pages.
Because she managed. She's old enough
Windwraith.
to. She's old enough to take the freaking invite to get into the party and pass as the guest. So she'd have to be at least post puberty. But they're not going to be like, "Oh, hello, young child," with your.
The intruder was a child, a scrawny pre-adolescent boy wearing form-fitting clothes.
So
she doesn't have boobs yet.
But that could also just be her body shape.
She never corrects herself, so I'm assuming Lynn's a child.
Type in Windwraith and go to the first mention of her.
Yeah, the first mention of her, okay.
Because the first mention of her is when she was fighting on the stage. This is very important, guys. We need to find out how old Lynn is. Because also, I thought I might have been wrong as well.
We need to know if she's allowed to break up the love triangle.
Yes, exactly, we do.
Yeah, well, I also thought as well that her and maybe because when she sees the picture of Luca as well, she's like, oh wow, he's actually pretty attractive type thing. I was like, oh, maybe that'll happen, but it doesn't. But it would have been cool if it did.
Where is my brain? I'm there, but like, okay, her hair's the Ice Queen is doing shit.
Come on, not you. Cool.
I know. It's like, where the fuck is it?
Describe this win rate to me, book. Come on.
She's just being upset right now. Anna's just being upset.
We don't have time for your emotions.
Wraith. All right, welcome, Windwraith. At first glance, Anna thought it was a child. As she strained to see better, hoping to catch a glimpse of May's ocean blue eyes, she realized that the new was no child, but actually a young woman. Okay.
Okay.
We can have her break up the love triangle.
We can have her break up the love triangle.
It's okay.
She's just tiny.
That's fine. We can live with time.
It's gonna be a rough ride.
But it's fine. Yeah, but Yuri has like flaming red hair. But they're childhood friends, so she's known him since he was like a wee bab, and she's just like, oh my gosh, how you've grown up, and like all this stuff like that.
Yeah. He's a fire Aphanite, and he was working in the castle in the kitchens because fire kitchen makes sense. He can cook food with his magic. He's now part of the
Viva la Resistance.
Yeah, the resistance. Where is?
Because they're having a revolution.
Yeah, Viva la Revolution. Yeah, they're in Paris. And so
my French doors, man.
Yeah, with our French doors and shit. So yeah, so he's here to create a love triangle.
Yes.
Thanks, they hate it.
And
I was
any other
annoyed.
characters, I guess we'll bring up as we get to them.
Yeah.
There's a lot of small part side characters.
Yeah. So
plot.
The plot, and again, we've already spoiled a lot of things, but again, book club with Bae, not spoiler free book review with Bae. So this is your last major spoiler warning. We are going to be spoiling pretty much everything. Okay, bye.
Mara, you're right. I think she friend zones him. Because she says, I love you too, my friend. But he's like, I love you no matter what you choose. But I think that she friend zoned him. But let's hope it stays that way. Because if anyone gets in the way of her and Ramson, I'm going to fucking rage.
Because also, let's be honest, he's been in love with her since he was like 5 years old.
Probably.
Well, also,
he's like, PETA.
Ramson is like the other person we follow.
Exactly.
So they have to get together.
They have to end up together.
Like
that, and they're every time that she describes them touching, it's just.
Well, also he's the only one that fell in love with her. Like, Yuri fell in love with his idealized version of the princess.
Yeah, while
whereas Ramson
pretty much hashtag confirmed that he's in love with her already because he thinks like, oh well, I now realize why my father said love is a weakness. When thinking about Anna.
That was before he knew that she was princess.
Yes, exactly.
Well, their relationship developed with her with them not knowing each other's secrets.
Yep.
Which is so cute. I can't. I'm like, oh, it's so cute. You know, it's cute.
I freaking love romance.
Yeah. And I think part of why you thought it was cute as well is because it wasn't vomit inducing for you. It was done in a way that isn't like, ugh.
No, there was no.
Yeah, it was all it was very well done.
It was all very natural.
It just evolved.
It evolved. It was all very natural. It snuck up on everybody, including the characters, which I fucking live for.
And to this point, anyway, they have shown what they feel about each other by doing what they do, not doing the declaration.
I don't think it'll be a declaration. It'll just be.
Yeah. I mean, their relationship's going to be a lot more like, Han Solo, Princess Leia, where it's like, I love you, I know, not You are
Yeah.
you're the wind that flies beneath my wings. You are the light that brightens my day. You are my everything, my one true eternal.
They're probably just gonna make out. Like that's probably what's just gonna
Well,
happen.
I'm gonna be honest. I think I like it so much because it's a romance that fits probably like a way better my personality in general.
It just happens.
Like in real life. So
I also, in books and like media, I just like assholes that turn into just buckets of goo when it comes to their girls. So he, like internally, he's just kind of a little bucket of goo whenever he thinks about her, and I'm like, yes, sir, you're a con man. Go.
Honestly, I think one of the sweetest moments in this book was like when he was like, "Look, I'm probably gonna die here, but you gotta go save your brother. Fuck off."
Yes.
And then she takes the moment to pause and grab his shirt and say, "Don't you die on me, con man."
Mm-hmm.
And then she runs off.
I lost
And I was
it.
like,
I was freaking out right
they
there.
love each other. I love each other.
Because he also was like on top of her when he said it.
see, I was also that's like a moment when I was like, that was adorable.
Yep.
Even though it's like that's not like romantic at all. Like it is.
But it's so cute.
But like for me, I'm like peak romance. I love it. Perfect. That's my kind of romance. This is my kind of romance. I'm so into it.
Just her taking those extra few seconds to say, "Don't you die on me."
Well, and like also like when he's like, I guess this is goodbye, she's like, I wanted to say anything to make him stay. And I'm just like, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, same. I'm like, yeah, you did, but go. Let him go.
Yeah.
Make it angsty.
Yeah,
because it's not that angsty either, and that's what I also liked. I was like, the angst isn't bad, and you also have shit to do. I'm into it.
And they both accept that they have shit to do, and they're like,
they know that.
And the shit they went and did was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because then also like when he gets captured and everything, he's just like, "Oh, well, at least she's safe." "Oh no, she's not safe. Fuck!" And then he's just like, but before he realizes that she's not safe, he was like, "I never even asked her where she was going. So even if I can't get out of this, I don't know if I'm going to be able to find her." I'm just like, oh, he always had that thought of going and finding her.
Yeah, like it's just so subtle and
like you didn't know that like before, so you know it's like it's just so nicely woven in. It's very
it's so cute.
It's very good.
So good.
It's very good.
This is how you do romance plots. I approve.
Mm-hmm. It's well done enough. Sorry.
So I was just gonna say as well. It's also kind of like I've told you the idea that I have for my love interest plot whenever I get around to doing my books and stuff, and I'll fill you in later, Addie. But like it's a similar sort of vein where it's just like there's a shit ton of like just gradual trust building and then relationship building and shit, and then something happens and then it happens.
Yeah, that's how it is for the solo one I've started revamping recently. But it's just like they just grow together and then they're like, oh shit, we like each other. Oh no. Like it's so cute. I just love it.
Yeah, it's just gonna be a shit ton of tension and flirting and easy banter until like it's more than that.
So one day they're like, all right, this is enough. This is it. We can't do this anymore. We need to just get it done. Like just gotta get it done. Oh god, so good.
Yeah. So the plot.
The actual plot now.
Okay.
I was ranting about the romance.
Because so they've met. They have met.
Yes, they met now.
Because
she's in his prison cell.
And she's like, I will help you if you help me. And he goes, you will help me. And she's like, I will help you if you help me. And he's like, no, wait, you're gonna help me. And then he takes a hostage and he's like, you're gonna help me.
Yeah.
And then she's like, so she helps him. And then she's like, right, so we had a deal. And he's like,
break out of the prison.
He's like, no, I'm leaving.
And then she's like, wait, we had a deal. And he's like, nope, we didn't shake on shit. You just helped me. Haha, goodbye. And she's like,
yeah.
What the fuck?
Because he acts like he knows who the alchemist is. And then so she frees him. And he's like, no, bitch, I don't know who he is. I don't know where. I gotta leave. Like,
and then she's like, oh no, he's a con. Fuck.
Yeah.
And you're like, I like him. You guys should do sex.
Yeah, but
That was when I was like on board.
yeah, but before they have that conversation, though, because they have to break out by like scaling down a cliff and then plunging into a river.
Yes.
Which they both have trauma from almost drowning.
Yes. And then he's just gonna leave her, like she's like stumbling up the side of the the riverbank, and he's just like, "Fuck, she's dead. Wait, bye." And then he's like, "Wait."
Then he goes back.
How did you get here? And she's like, "I walked." And he's like, "That means there's shelter nearby."
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. We're going together. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he like carries her because he's like, I'm just gonna use her for a shelter and then I'm gonna yeet. Like, I'm not dealing with this shit. I got things to do. I gotta take back my title and my crime organization. You're the least of my issues, woman. Like,
Yeah.
Sure
And-
she is. Sorry.
And she's half frozen and barely conscious, so he's like carrying her.
yep.
And then random 9-year-old girl appears, and she's like,
Yes, the little girl's like, after they see a bear,
"Yeah."
and he's like, shit, I should just throw Anna to the bear and run. And then the little girl shows up and he's like, oh, I guess I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah.
Yep. So he's like, "Oh well, I guess I can handle whatever a little girl throws at me, so I'll just go with her then." And they go to a little shack thing,
Mm-hmm.
and they both bathe separately.
Yes, they do separately bathe.
We're not there yet.
No, not this book, guys. Not this book. Sadly.
Book 3.
She gets first bath because she's about to turn into an ice cube.
Yes.
And then so she comes back to herself while he's bathing, and so she catches up. The little girl is May. She ran into each other. She's been on this quest for almost a year, 11 moons.
Yeah,
She
because
ran
a
into
year
her
ago
about
was
10
when Anna died.
Yeah. And they've kind of been together ever since because May brought her food and then she broke her out of her employment, aka slavery,
Yes.
and they've been on the run ever since together.
And May's trying to
And-
find her mom.
Yes, because they're immigrants. They moved
Yes.
there with the promise of a better, richer life and became indentured servants, pretty much.
Yep.
I think the slave trade in this is heavily based on like the Korean slave trade in mainland Asia,
Mm-hmm.
and in Japan, because that's what happens. Women go over there, and then they ultimately become indentured servants. So I think that's what this was based on,
Yeah.
especially considering she flat out said it's based on Asian slave culture, not African American.
Yep.
So that happens. Then he comes out, and then Anna's like, "Oh, he's actually kind of handsome
Yeah. And then
now that he's clean."
yeah, she's like, oh shit, wait. Okay.
Which I like it when
that-
that happens. When like the first time you meet a love interest, it's like ugh, and then later you're like,
Ooh.
Oh,
You're
okay,
like-
then.
okay,
You can stay for a little bit longer. Then.
okay.
But then, and
They do
this
their
is when they have
trade.
the argument where he's like, "I'm going," and she's like, "No, you're not." And then she uses some of the magic on him, but he misinterpreted. He thought she was a flesh
Yeah.
Aconite.
Yes.
Well, because
She can
he saw
still-
her kill people.
Yeah, that's right. But she can also like, that's right. He remembers that.
Yeah.
She doesn't use it on him. But
No, she never
can
uses.
control-
Well, she later
Yeah.
uses on him, but not
Yeah.
not right now.
She can manipulate a person's body. She can throw them against the wall and stuff because she controls their blood, which runs through all of our body.
It's like blood bending in Avatar, essentially.
Yeah, so he assumes that she's a flesh Aconite because she can control
Yes.
people's bodies.
Yes.
And then he's like, "Wait, I can use that. I can use her to get my thing." And she's already learning. She's like, "No, I will help you after
You help me. Hmm. So they make an official trade, which is like a very binding verbal agreement for con men.
Yes.
Yeah. And he's like, well, you know how you want to know how a trade is serious? The reason was in jail is because I broke a trade. So,
Yeah.
bitch. So they finalize their agreement.
Yeah. And so they're going to go and they need to go to the next, he's like, we need to go to this town so I can speak to someone about a thing.
About
so
finding
they
your
go to-
alchemist.
Yes. So they go there. He's like, okay, I'm going to go and speak to my peeps now. You just try not to get arrested, okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
first he's like, this is a very dangerous place for your kind. Do not stick out. Just keep your fucking head down and just don't talk to anyone for 30 minutes.
So that's exactly what she does.
Yeah, of course. She immediately is like,
Yes, sir. And
yeah,
she does nothing wrong. And
Yeah,
she
so-
does not draw any attention to herself. She
That's-
totally doesn't attack people.
nope. Yeah, so Ramson leaves them alone for 5 minutes and guards are already approaching them like, show me your papers, show me your identification papers, and like stuff like that. And they're like,
To be fair, she didn't mean for it to happen.
She did
Yeah,
not.
The only reason she starts attacking people is because they get May.
Yes.
Yeah, well, what
And
happens
this is
that
also... Sorry.
there's another Aphonite indentured servant.
Yes.
And she is working as a pastry chick. And they sneak her some money. And then the woman's like, have this cinnamon scroll or whatever the fuck it was.
Yeah.
And then boss man comes out, is like, you tell me that they paid for that, rah, rah, rah. And then they're like, hey, maybe just chill a bit. And then the guards come.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing, too, is this is also, like, important because she's a princess and
She is.
she's finally seeing, like,
The status of her
the
empire.
world
Yeah.
through not
Yeah.
princess eyes. So it's sort of like a Princess Jasmine moment.
Yeah.
Like when she's out
Yes.
in the world and she's like, there are poor people.
With
and
the
it's
apple
like,
and
yeah.
Yeah, and she had no idea that this Aphonite, like, essentially slave or indentured
Slave trade.
servitude trade
Yeah.
was happening.
Yes.
So she's like, how did my father let this happen? Like,
Right.
I have to fix this.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. And then this other guy rocks up and May's like, he's a bad man. He's a bad man.
Yeah.
And then they manage to get May. Like a fight breaks out. They manage to get May. She's trying to stop them, but she's been hit by this poison that
Stops powers.
That affects, like, stops affinities from being able to be used temporarily.
Yep.
So that her power's running out. She can't really do anything. May gets thrown into a stone carriage and she chases it but can't catch up.
Yep.
And then there's also Aphonites as well that can also... No, it wasn't poison. It was the other Aphonite dude.
Oh, it was the Jaeger.
Yeah, the Jaeger.
So
the
Ja-
Jaegers. And they...
Jaegers are like Aphonites that can stop Aphonite powers.
Yes.
Interesting, folks. Yeah.
And every time a Jaeger was mentioned, I got so fucking distracted.
It's spelled differently. So for me, I didn't even...
It's not said differently.
Yeah, no, it's not. Of course not.
So my brain is just like, Jaeger!
Yeah, when I
Jaeger,
first
Jaeger.
saw that Jaeger was a word used, I immediately thought of Pacific Rim. Because in Pacific Rim, Jaegers fight kaiju, and it's just a whole thing. So I was like, hey! But yeah, they're just special Aphonites that work for the government.
And she manages to catch him off guard and, like, get control of his blood so he can't magic her. And she's like, where are they going? What are they doing with her? And gets the info she needs to find May.
Meanwhile, our lovely con man is interrogating a guy named Igor, and Igor's terrified of him. A lot of people are terrified of Ramson, by the way.
Which is how you know that he's a con. We never have to be told. Everybody's just scared shitless of him.
Yeah, they see him and they're like, you're alive? Oh my god. Oh no. Fuck. And yeah, he's like, I want to cash in a favor. And they're all just like...
But we also know that he's smart as well, because like when he goes to the back room, he's just like, I waited for the lock to click, and it didn't. Interesting.
Yeah.
Let's see where this goes, shall we?
He does pay attention. But...
Not enough, but...
He reveals to Igor that he's going to use Anna as essentially like a trading tool between him and Alaric to distract him so he can kill him and take back the crime organization for himself.
Yes.
And also, it was shown at this point that Alaric like tortured him and branded him and then tattooed him against his will.
Yes. But that's how you become a member of the organization. That's what happens.
It's like the White
You get
Lilies
brand
or
on
something
your
like that.
chest, You get a freaking lily on your wrist,
Yep.
brand on your chest, and
You're in, bud.
Hella.
well done.
And the part of that crime organization was Affinite trafficking, and he always refused to be part of that. He was like, I'm not my scene, not my job, not doing that. And so the guy who ratted...
Did we find out who he was supposed to assassinate yet? Okay.
No, we haven't.
No.
But
So he was sent on an assassination mission when he got caught. We find that out at this point.
yes, and the person that turned him in is Anna's alchemist that killed her father.
Yes.
Yeah, we find
Small
that out.
world.
It is a small world. And this is the point where he's like, the enemy of my enemy
is my friend.
Yes,
Okay.
and then he's like, well, Igor, now that we've got, your distraction out of the way, thanks for trying to poison me in the wine also. Thank you. That is appreciated.
Yep.
But I'm
And
just going to go
like,
away now.
Yeah, but he doesn't run away. He gets kidnapped.
Yes, he does.
Because everyone gets kidnapped at least once. It's your initiation in this book.
It's
you gotta
kind of
get
like
kidnapped.
Outlander. In Outlander, you get raped. In this world, you get kidnapped.
Sad, but it's true.
I mean, at least nobody got raped.
Yeah, no one did. No one did.
Yet. There's still another book, at least. At least
There's
one
two
more. Okay.
Yeah, it's officially on Goodreads. It's a trilogy, but
Okay, good.
I don't want to wait for 2 years for her and Ramson to get together. That's assuming this is a 1-year schedule, and
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
anyways.
So Anna goes. Anna knows where he's going, so she
Yes.
goes there and sees him and sees
Sees him getting dragged off.
Yes. And then so she goes to Barkeep Man and she's like, Where are they taking him? He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And she's like, blood magic. Where are they taking him? He's like, to the same town that May's going, motherfucker.
Yep.
Take a horse and go.
Yep. And so she steals his most expensive horse and rides after the people that have Ramson, and she uses her magic and kills a guy, and we get Ramson back.
Yay!
Yay. And she's
Thank
like, it's going to take us 10 days.
We need exactly 10 gays to work this shit out.
And he's essentially like,
and he's like, no, it's a super horse. It'll take us 4 days.
yeah, and he's also like, when we get there, if we steal May back, like, Alaric is gonna know that we're here. So it's either we get your alchemist or we get May back. What's your decision? And so she goes and she prays about it, and then she comes back and she's like, we're getting May back. And I was like, wow, nice.
Yep. So May, because the barkeep dude also tells her as well that she's going to be a performer at
The Playpen, I think it's called.
the Playpen. Yes, it honestly sounds like a sex trafficking club.
It sounded like burlesque, but with fighting. Like, that was how it was just, like, in my brain. Because there was, like, the Ice Queen was dressed, I feel like, in, like, burlesque wear.
Yeah.
And then it was a fighting ring as well.
Yep, and everyone wears masks. But just every time they say Playpen, I'm like, oh, please don't tell me that May's getting raped. Please don't tell me that this 9-year-old girl is going to get fucking sex trafficked. Especially when he said a performer at the Playpen. That honestly sounds like they're going to make her get up there, drugged to all hell, half naked, and then people are going to bid on her and take her to the back room.
Yeah, that's what I thought as well.
I was like,
was
no,
not, thank
poor
God.
May. So they work out a plan that they get there, and before they go to the Playpen, They're all dressed up and wearing their masks and shit.
Yes, and she's also like, damn, he's hot. All right.
Yeah. They go in there and May wasn't there, but what happened was a few Aphanites did magic tricks, I guess, for lack of a better term. And they're the ones that are going to be having their contracts auctioned off at the end of the night. And then we moved on to the main event, which was the leading champion fighting Wind Wraith.
Yes.
And Wind Wraith wins.
Yes, but before this, we find out what Ramson's baggage is, which is not totally, but we find out first part of it where his like drowning baggage comes from, which is a guy, I think his name was Jonah.
Yeah, Jonah Fisher.
Yeah, it was like this guy that he served in the military.
They were at the Navy, the Gregorian Royal Navy Academy.
Yes, yeah. They were going to be in the military together, and
we also find out that his father's an admiral.
His father is a very high-ranking official, and Jonah dies, which is his baggage. He died like 8 years ago or something.
Yeah, we don't find out how yet though.
No, and the how shook me. I was like, shit. That's sad. But and he's also like, I really should turn Anna over to Alaric, but I kind of like her.
Yeah.
So like that's just happening throughout.
Yeah, his original plan was to just be like have her, and then he was gonna do his revenge and then keep her type thing.
Yeah. Yep.
So they get there. May wasn't on stage that night.
Yes.
Anna's like, this is disgusting. I can't believe that this is a thing. She bumps into a guy, a really big guy in a mask, and he's like, what are you doing? She's like, I'm sorry. And that's nothing to note for now, but later on. Then later that night, he goes to, Ramson goes to meet with the broker.
Yes.
The playpen, and be like, you owe me a faves, so you're gonna rig when this Earth Aphanite ship girl, and he's like, oh yeah, 3 days time she'll be here, and he's like, excellent. Yep. Well, you're gonna rig the bidding on her contract, so I win.
Yep.
And you're also gonna get me into Alaric's big ball. Yes, you're gonna get me and my wife. Yes. Me and my wife shall be attending, and we want invites, and we want the guest list, please. So
yeah, and so he gives them what we think is a fake last name. But my little heart, it's his real last name, and it made my heart so like sad and happy when I found out that was his actual last name. So cute. And yes, and he was like, you're going to also tell Alaric that I'm here and I want to speak with him and that I have the Blood Witch.
Yes, because
yeah,
I think at this stage as well, because he's worked out who she is when she saved him from the.
I think so. Yes, that he's like, oh shit, you're the famous Blood Witch that murdered 8 people.
Oh yeah, the Blood Witch of Sondheim or whatever the fuck it was.
Yeah.
Because how her power manifested, because they don't have the affinities, like they're normal kids until they're not, like it is with most things that have affinity magic in it. She was 8 years old, so there was 10 years before this thing, and she was out one day, like in the town surrounding the castle, and she's like, hello, I'm the princess, and then all of a sudden, just bam, 8 people are dead.
Yeah.
And they managed to make sure no one found out that it was her that did it.
Mm-hmm.
So there's just, for the last 10 years, there's been like all this talk of the Blood Witch of whatever. And yeah, so he's like, I've got her and Alaric can have her type thing. And we're like, oh,
yep.
How dare you? How dare you do this? But he's not really planning on doing it.
Yeah, no, he's not going to. And I don't know why, but I wrote down, oh god, I ship it so hard right here, and I don't remember like what happened.
That was probably at
I
the
think it was
breakfast.
internal dialogue during that moment.
That or were they at breakfast yet when you wrote that?
No, it's my notes are when, like, at this part, it's like when he's talking to the guy.
I think it's probably just because, like, I forget what it is, but like during this conversation, there was also just something in there that had me like, he's not gonna fucking do it. You can't have her. Like, I don't know why, but my brain was just like, no, you're not gonna get her. And so I'm like, he's gonna do sex and you can't have her. Ha.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Like, so I think that's probably what it was.
Probably, yeah, is exactly just like that.
So yeah, well, the next day then they have breakfast. He's got the guest list.
Oh, there's also a lot of sexual tension just throughout all of this with them touching.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a lot of it. It's riddled with sexual tension.
Yeah, like, for example, when they're at the playpen the night before and everything, and she accidentally bumps into the guy, he, like, kind of pulls her back, and then she's, without realizing, she's starting to, like, cuddle into his side, and then she's like, oh, wait, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah, there's a lot of them starting to cuddle, and then they stop.
They both realize at the same time, like, oh, fuck, personal space. My bubble, your bubble. Let's have the bubbles.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
good.
okay, I found it.
Good shit.
I found why I shipped them in this part.
Okay.
Because the broker is like, well, how much do you think she's worth? And he goes in this rant in his head about, like, how much is she worth? And then he's, like, thinking about her smile and, like, the way she looks what she's thinking and how stubborn she is. And then it says the way she's shown like a torch in the darkness.
Yeah.
I can't, man. And then something stirred inside his chest, something buried far beneath the wall he had built from the ruins of his heart.
Addie's gonna fucking cry.
I just love this.
You know what? And you know what makes me sad, though, as well? The fact that, you know, like, okay, these, like, books have this a lot more than movies and TV shows because it's a lot of it's internal dialogue, and you can't say that out loud without the set being like, you know? But to know, though, that the fact, like, the reality is, it's most likely that neither your current partner, your husband, any of your exes, whatever, none of them have ever thought those words about you in that order, and it makes me sad.
Yeah.
Just like, Stixie, can I please be your light in the dark, and can you give me that word, please?
If I texted my boyfriend right now and I was like, am I your light or am I your torch that shines in the darkness? He'd be like, stop this.
He'd be like, can you be less
gross shit out of
He would
here.
be like, can you be less gay, please? Jesus
Yes, exactly.
fucking Christ.
I'm going to text Stixie, and you can message your man, and we will ask.
He's gonna be like, why do you keep asking me questions for book club purposes?
Yeah, what is it? Am I your torch that shines in the darkness?
I just sent it to him. Said hi for book club purposes. Am I the torch that shines in the darkness to you?
You should have just left out one day you need to just leave it out and just see what happens. And just randomly, am I your torch that shines in the darkness and leads you through, like, whatever? And
The remnants of your heart.
I'm gonna give him a minute to respond, and if not, I'm gonna follow up with a question mark, and then every minute after that, because he's at work, so he might not read it. He might read it and go, "I'll get to that later."
I don't have time to unbox all that right now.
We don't have time to unpack all of that. Like, he's like, this is gonna lead to a thing, and I don't know how to handle it.
I need to know, okay? Stacey, I need to know.
I need to know. Am I your light?
This is vital information.
Am I the torch light that shines in the dark light thing?
Bitch.
Am I?
Do I light up your life? Tell me.
No, do I light up the dark, broken pieces of your heart? God fucking damn it.
I paid $60 for a turn-based strategy waifu simulator.
You're
Tell me you love
me, god damn it. I'll text Dimitri.
Fire Emblem reference. If you follow our Twitters, you've seen that before.
I'll tweet Dimitri.
Tweet his voice actor.
Yeah, he'll say yes. He has to. He says something like that when you get married to him.
Anyway, so the next day they finalize their plans. And they're back at the club that evening, and some dude, the guy that she bumped into the few nights before.
Oh, yeah, so May's on stage at this point.
Yes, she is.
Daisy's grow. And then they're taking bids. People are paying for her to do different stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, dude from a few nights beforehand is like, have all the gold.
Yes,
and
take all my money.
And it was a lot of money. It was enough to feed a family for over a year, I think, is what she said. And so the guy's like, well, for your generosity, you can have whatever you want her to do, type of thing. And I was just like, oh, for fuck's sake, this guy's going to demand possession of her contract right here and now.
That's what I thought, too. But then he plot twists and goes, Viva la
Revolution.
Yes, exactly. He does that. Yes. And then throws fire onto the stage.
Yes, and he takes off his mask and it's Yuri, her childhood friend who brought her food. And she's like, Yuri? And she's like, oh no, May's going to die because then the wind wraith comes down and there's wind and this and that and like this
lot of shit going on.
Shatter. And she's like, fuck, I need to get to May and like Yuri because he doesn't know who she is because she's wearing a mask and shit.
Yeah.
He's trying to stop her and she's like, no, how dare you? It's me. And he's like, it's you. And she's like, it's me, May. And then grabs May. But then Ice Queen comes out because we've also established Ice Queen works for the broker. She's a bad one, but she's not. She starts taking people in as well and makes like an ice ceiling above them. So when the glass ceiling shatters, I don't think that was supposed to be a metaphor. But no matter how many times you break the glass ceiling, there'll be another translucent one there.
Yep.
I don't think that was, but whatever.
I don't think it was.
My response from Stixie. Sure.
If you insist.
I think
guess. I would have been less upset if he'd just written no. I would have been less upset with no. Because Shaw is just so dismissive.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, right.
If I have to.
He's proving my point. I've never been his torch that lights up the darkness.
I'm so sorry.
I'm going to cry now. Honestly, though, if I'd asked him that sentence in like a non-poetic way, he probably would have gone, yeah. But why are you asking? Like, you know this. We bribed twice.
God.
Yes.
It's just that, like, people
Can you stop being so insecure, Mara? Please?
It's just that people don't poetically think these things, typically.
But it's fine, because it's a book.
But it's fine, because it's a book. So it's cute.
Yes.
Girls have to live out their fantasies somehow, okay?
Yes. Because also, half the shit in books that guys think or say that make us go like, oh my God, why doesn't anyone ever say that to me type thing? If a guy said that to me, I'd be like, run.
Yeah, like, this is creepy.
Get out of here.
I'd be like, fucking stop it right now. That's why, like, I'm all over this romance because none of that happens, and I'm like, yes.
Yeah, they never like say things like that out loud.
I'm like, they think it, but they don't say it.
They do. He's definitely super into her though, and she's just like, I have too many things to focus on. You're hot, and I think I love you, but I don't have time. I don't have time right now.
We don't have time to unpack all of that. So
I have a maid to save and an alchemist to find, okay, and a throne to reclaim. My love life can come later.
I like it.
Yeah, I love it. It's a good time.
Then a fight breaks out. They run away, and she's like, "Oh, look, it's you!" And she's like, "Yes, it is me, May. I did come to do a save." And May's fucking helping them fight too at this stage as well. We've realized she's making rocks out of dirt.
And also, Ramson gets shot.
People. Yes, Ramson gets shot. They run. There's more fighting on the escape, but then they escape and get to a house.
Nope. Before that,
Oh wait, no.
someone's gonna shoot. Yeah, so someone's gonna shoot. There's like a arrow shooting towards Anna, and May like shoves her out of the way and
it
to the chest.
I have a question. In all these TV shows and movies and books, when people shove someone out of the way and take the bullet themselves, or in this case, arrow themselves, have they never learned to just roll with the push and keep going, or push with your arms? Just push with your arms. Do not put your body where their body was. You don't have to push and then stop and go.
Or just squat and push him at the leg.
Yeah.
Like you don't got to get hit.
Down, just do a low kick. Just kick their feet out from underneath them.
Yeah. Just drop them.
It's not a one of us has to die scenario. It's we can both survive if we learn how to push people out of the way without putting our own central mass where their central mass was. But also, if a 9-year-old girl manages to get shot through the heart for an arrow that was meant for a grown fucking woman to get shot
That's
through
what
the
I was
heart,
thinking too. Wouldn't it like gunk right here?
Well, that guy's she should have just let her get shot. Because that would have been a gut wound. Yes, those can still be fatal, but they take a long time and they would have had time to fucking sort that shit out.
Yeah.
No, she's fine, May. I was going to get her in the stomach. Okay? It would have hurt and she still might have died, but she probably wouldn't have. She would have gotten medical attention before she died.
Okay, so he replied.
Okay, well,
he said,
what did he say?
That's middle school gush. What are you talking about?
So the long form version of what Stixie said then.
That's great. Thank you.
Middle school gush. What are you talking about? Oh God.
I just want to be like, is that a no?
Please ask. Please ask if that's a no. If you don't, I will. I have his number.
No, I just sent it. Anyway,
I will ask. I haven't texted anybody.
Yeah. So Megan's got, and part of her religion from her home place is like a phrase like called like "we are but dust and stars," and I really like that.
Yeah, people are gonna get that shit tattooed.
Yeah, right. He said, "What do you mean, no?" And I said, "Am I not the torch that shines in the darkness?"
It's a yes or no question.
Answer the damn question.
Yeah, dude.
Motherfucker.
But so all the Aphanites that were like enslaved there are now free, and they're retreating to a safe house through the tunnels.
Yeah.
And we get to the safe house.
Yes, and there's a kooky old fortune teller there.
Mm-hmm. And she reveals that her brother is sick. No details, just sick and dying.
And she's like, no!
Yeah, it's very upsetting. Oh, he's typing.
Uh-oh.
This is the best part of this. I'm sorry. All of the boyfriend consulting gives me life.
Depends on if your phone is charged.
What is that? I'm even more confused.
That's
I just said, what does that mean? I think that's what he means. I said, do you mean the flashlight on my phone? God, oh, he just said dot, dot, dot. Yes.
I don't know if that's more or less insulting than the sure I got.
I just said thank you for participating in science.
At least he's giving you sentences.
That's awesome.
Well, he's
not at work.
Like
I feel like we need a better focus group.
We need a larger scope.
You know what, Bae? You can solve that problem. You just have
It's not my fault.
Oh gosh.
How hard is it to go find a? We need to give your boyfriend a nickname, please. He needs a nickname.
Doesn't exist. So
Mine.
oh.
SDA, choose a name for him.
Oh.
Mac dude.
His name is Sauna.
I was thinking that as well. We'll call him Sauna. Yes.
Sauna.
Okay, well, she needs
It's
to
an
find
inside.
Well, how hard is it then, Bay, to find a clone of Stixie and Sona? How hard is that, Bay?
Who's also a billionaire.
To say, yeah, a billionaire who can buy me my freaking herd of miniature horses. And
I mean, I know one, but he's not a billionaire.
Well, can you give him a brilliant idea to become a billionaire? And then he can become one, and he can buy us all our Mac Pros and build us our castles. And
It's complicated. We can talk about it later. We don't have time to unpack all of that.
Okay, so she and Yuri hug, and I got mad. Because this is when I was like, I sense the love triangle coming.
I know, right? It's like,
yep. So they have a brief catch up. I thought you were dead. Well, I'm not dead. I didn't kill my father. I know you didn't kill your father. What are you doing? I am in the resistance because this is bullshit.
Vive la resistance.
Vive la resistance.
So that's pretty much the gist of their conversation.
I enjoy that. Thank you.
That's the only compliment we could have ever needed.
That warm. I think that even warms Bay's ice heart.
Yeah, like this book kind of thought it. So yeah, it does.
Yay! So we bury May. We have a funeral that's like we bury her in the earth. It's all,
and she has flowers, and it's all very Rue-like.
It's all very Rue-like, and it's all very sad.
I will say, like, one issue that the only issue I have with people comparing it like directly to, because like I get the comparison to Rue, but also
Rue wasn't the first sacrificial child.
And she's also not the first person to be buried with fucking flowers.
Yeah, it's just she's just super famous.
Yeah, especially with kids as well. I think like there's a lot in any sort of high fantasy or whatever dystopian world where a child dies. They always make it as full of life as possible.
Yeah.
So like the one thing that I will say is that I think that people were looking for things to hate about this book, and so I think they just extrapolated it to like, also you stole from the Hunger Games. I'm like, bitch, fucking where? Battle Royale?
Also, Hunger Games was not original in the first place. Like, there's nothing new under the sun.
Yeah.
So like, she stole from the Hunger Games because there was a child funeral.
Yeah.
Bite me.
Yeah, no, I can.
Like yes, it is similar to Rue's funeral.
There's about 50 books on not on my bookshelf because I don't have one right now. In my storage thing.
Unit,
that's the word. Yeah, in my storage unit, there's at least 50 books in there that has child death in it.
Yeah.
And it's all very sad because child death is sad. But
yes.
like I said, it's not that it's not similar to Rue. It's just that people were looking. It's just that like once it happened, people were just looking for shit to be mad about.
Yeah.
And then they were like, also a child died.
And the Hunger Games stands came to just fucking
and it was like you're
fight.
And when I heard that like people were comparing it to the Hunger Games, I was like, where's the Battle Royale thing? Like when people compared the Savior's Champion to the Hunger Games and Jenna got mad about that, I was like, bitch, you need to calm your fucking shit because that is actually a battle royale thing that operates a lot like the fucking Hunger Games. And the fact that she was mad about that was so stupid to me.
Well, I think it's actually insulting to the Hunger Games. Well, no, the Hunger Games actually, like, it made sense. Like, you know, they
Yeah.
their alliances were made, like people in the ring that then would then turn on each other as, you know, they killed everyone else. That makes sense. Okay, in the Savior's Champion, there's no rules against them not slitting each other's throats in their sleep, and yet they all still just chill out every night and go to sleep, and no one kills anyone.
In fact, it would make sense for everybody to just, like, you and I, like, when we read the first night, we were like, how come nobody's dead? How come everybody's not dead? What the fuck?
Like,
in fact, the guy who's running it is like, I want you to murder everybody in their sleep.
The last man standing should have been the last man standing on the second day, because he killed everyone else while they slept.
And if that's the rules and you don't want it that way, why is everybody sleeping in a way where they're fucking sorry, this is turning into a rant about that, but like my point is that like when it's fair to actually compare a book to another book, then like that's fair. But like, come the fuck
similarities between these two were just not enough to justify that.
I mean, you know, a child. Like Rue did also save Katniss in the Hunger Games as well. So like, yes, May is a very Rue-like figure in it and stuff like that. However, that's not a copy-paste job. It's not.
No, because May does serve, like I said earlier, like she's child baggage, but like you also said, she's child baggage that is actually useful and serves a very specific plot purpose. So
Rue was just fucking irritated.
Yeah, and like we also said, May really feels like she's someone who's like lived in the world and who has been like a child on her own, and you know, she feels pretty unique as far as child characters go.
Yeah.
Anyway,
she's lived a lifetime of horrors in a very, very short amount of time.
Yeah,
exactly.
And you feel that.
Yeah. No, you can see that this kid is damaged.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't think that's fair.
Yeah. I just loved the bit where she's like behind.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, like she has a lot of personality, and I think that people have been like pretty.
I wasn't
unfair
pleased when she died.
What?
I wasn't pleased when she died.
Neither was I.
It was sad. Like
it
should
sad.
be.
I think it would have been sadder if it's not the author's fault, okay? It's just this is the way things go. That random child appears, they're gonna die.
I think I would have preferred if she had died in book 2. I think that would have been narratively better.
Well, because then we wouldn't have been expecting it. She survived.
Yeah, I think.
They'd be like, "Oh shit, she survived." Okay.
Yeah, I think that would have, because I think it would have had a bigger punch, and I think, I think personally that's what I would have done. But like, I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
So anyway,
no, I'm fine with how it turned out.
Yeah, same.
So we go and find
the fortune teller woman
with Shamira, I think her name is. Yeah, so we have a chat with her, and she's
an unseer.
Yeah, and she asks Shamira, like, "Oh, what do you see in my future?" And she just gives a really cryptic answer about how choices are important, like, et cetera, et cetera. And that's a big theme of the book, is like what you choose to be your life will be your life, and choices matter. And then she goes.
I kind of do like the message of that, because I know that like books generally, even if they don't explicitly state this is the message we're sending with this book, they generally have some sort of I guess morality or ethical statements in the plot, I guess. And I do think that is a very good one in general, because the whole point of this book is it's our choices that define us, not our circumstances.
Yeah.
And I think that is something that a lot of people could stand to remember. So I approve of the message of the book.
Yes, and so then she goes to find Ramson, and her heart leaps at the sight of him, and it's all just so good. And they have like super sexual tension while she's tending to his wounds, and they're like touching each other, and like it. They start to like open up to each other a little bit, and then there was going to be more. Then I think they say something that gets awkward, and they're like getting back into the bonding, and then someone gets murdered in the next room.
Yeah. Yeah, so the broken.
Don't you hate it?
Don't you hate it when you're trying to bond with your
Don't you hate it
man?
when you're just
someone gets
trying to
murdered?
fuck and somebody just gets murdered and ruins the moment?
But yeah, and he's also shirtless in that scene, so like.
Yes, well, because he had a side wound.
Yeah.
That's what side wounds are for.
Yeah, did we find out
get
how
people
the
shirtless.
broker found them in this?
How the broker found them? No.
Okay. I hope that gets answered in the next one. Well, because that said, after this scene, like we
He's
don't
dead.
see the resistance again in this book. So I'm hoping that the resistance has a mold that they have to find out who it is in the next book.
Yeah,
So
that's
they find how the
probably.
broker found them. So they find them and they're like, "Oh, you Aphanites are coming back with me," and they're like, "No." And then she sees him and she's like, "You killed May," and then
She goes fucking crazy. She throws Ramson across a room twice.
because he's trying to stop her.
Yeah, so she finally uses her power on him. Then she drains the guy of his blood after torturing him for a minute, and she gets super obviously remorseful about her actions as soon as it's over, and she like runs away, and Yuri's like, "Wait, don't leave." And she's like, "Nope, I need to fix myself because I just went crazy and I need to take 20 minutes by myself. I'm going to go find my alchemist and I'm going to take back my throne and I'm going to fix my shit, all right? We'll get therapy, all right?"
And she's like, "Tell Ramson I'm sorry."
Yeah.
He's unconscious. She knocked him out.
Yeah.
And then Yuri's like, "Okay, I love you, Princess."
Yeah, and he's like, "When you're ready to join the resistance, we'll be here." Yeah.
And he's like, "I love you," and she's like, "I love you too, my friend."
Yeah.
And it's like, haha, yes, we stand. Goodbye.
And
Get
she's
out.
also, so she says, "Take care of Ramson," and internally she's like, "I will find him again. Like, when things are right, I will come back for Ramson." And I'm like, "Yeah, you will."
Yeah, we're all like, yeah, fuck yeah.
And then, so she goes to the ball thing, and they're like, "Do you have an invitation?" And then she's like, "Oh." And Ramson's like, "My wife, you're so silly." And I was like,
Yeah. I knew he
of
was
course
going
he's
to
gonna show up.
I knew he was going to meet her there because he knew that she was going to be there. It never crossed her head that he'd rock up, but
to go take care of Ramson. No, bitch, he's not gonna leave you. He has his own shit to take care of. Like, he has to come to this party to do what his mission is. So, like,
Also, I'm sorry, but their cover story,
that they're husband and wife.
yeah,
Yeah, no, I know.
I stand. Well,
Okay.
look, it's perfect. Like, I'm sorry. It makes me happy. Because, you know what? This is another thing, too, that I just want to touch on. One of the best ways to, like, structure, and we talked about this before when we do book club, but, like, one of the best ways to just structure a romantic subplot when you don't want it to be frustrating, but you want to, like, make sure that you're not having to rush it or whatever, or keep it, like, on the back burner, but also keep the action in the forefront, is to do little things like this, because it keeps you satisfied.
Yeah.
And it keeps you able to focus on the action because you have, like, stupid little shit like where you're just like, they're husband and wife. I'm happy for 5 minutes. Like, so I can focus on the action and I don't care. Like,
well, and also the scene that's about to happen. I flipped my shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, like, so when you have those little moments, you have enough of that, like, fan service scene-ness that you can still focus on the action and the romance doesn't take over. And that's, like, such a great way to handle romance when it is a subplot, and that's how you keep it a subplot.
Yeah, and one like this is not a separate point. It's kind of carrying on from that, because one of the things I do really like about this book is when shit has to get done, they just do the shit.
Yeah.
Yes.
and they're like, let's put a pin in this conversation. We'll finish it later. Even though we both might die, we still got shit that needs to be done immediately.
Yes.
We can prioritize.
Yes. And I think like to that point too, if you were wondering like how to balance out a romantic subplot in like a book and you're not really sure how, because a lot of books don't really do it that well, give this book a read. Like, just if you're a writer and you're curious, just for like a really good example, just give this book a read. And, you know, you don't have to structure the romance the exact same, but just like kind of the beats of how like it gives you those little moments of satisfaction.
Yeah, like the little moments of internal dialogue.
Yeah.
So well done. So well done.
Because another thing as well that especially people like the cast forget, even when a lot of shit's going down, you still get downtime. Like, just say, like, you know, you're going, for example, to go hunt down the bad guy. You're in the car and you've got even a 5-minute drive ahead of you. There's still 5 minutes of downtime in the car. There are moments of downtime even in the middle of like sequential action.
Mm-hmm.
So there's always time to find it. It doesn't have to be mid-fight.
Exactly. And like the other thing too is that they do enough things, even if, God damn it. Okay. I got this. Even if it's not romantic, when they're doing something like fighting together, that is satisfying to watch because it's part of the romance, even if it's not romantic.
It shows their dynamic.
Because you're building upon their dynamic, which is incredibly satisfying. Like, it doesn't have to be romantic, which this book really showcases that. So, like I said, if you want a good example of how to do a great romantic subplot that is a subplot, if that's what you're looking to do, like, if that's not what you're looking to do, that's not what you're looking to do, and that's totally fine because that's not what all genres call for. But this is a great example of how to do that because building that dynamic, you know, like when they're just doing something that has no romantic tension in it, it works really well, and it works to build their relationship outside of those other moments in the downtime.
Yeah, an example in this one is that the scene I'm thinking of is later when they're in the castle and Renton and Anna are fighting people. Mm-hmm. They're fighting the guards. They have complete trust and faith in each other to hold their own.
Yes.
There's none of that freaking power struggle of, no, I will protect you, no, I will protect you, or anything like that. It's just, I'm going to take out this guy, you take on that one, and then we'll worry about that one and that one.
Right. And seeing that dynamic is satisfying, even like, especially if you're rooting for the romance. Like, you know, it doesn't have
fight off. She's going to have.
Exactly. And so it works really, really well. I forgot what I was going to say, but I don't know.
Oh,
and
also just a bit of follow up. After Stixie responded, sure, I just did like the emoji with the straight mouth, like, and then he sent me a kissy face. So I guess I am.
There you go.
But he just never would have phrased it that way.
So Ramson's obviously pissed off at her for, you know, yeeting him against a wall twice and then leaving. So they duck into a room to talk, and they're like nose to nose, like, and she's like, he could either kiss me right now or murder me, and I don't know what's gonna happen. And I'm just like, ugh. And he's like, someone's watching us, and like he ends up putting his like face like in her neck region, but not like kissing her neck, obviously, just like they're trying to make it look like they're just a husband and wife going off to go
make out.
Yeah, dude, have some fun at a party.
Because that's one thing. Like, it really, look, why? So I get it. This isn't about the book itself. This is just in general. Because I know that people do shit like that. It's just like, why couldn't you have gone and had sex at home? Like, what, did you want to have sex in a mansion tonight? Is that what it is? Or is it the people downstairs and the risk of getting caught? Use it there together as a married couple. But, oh well.
It's just cute. It's just, I think it's just so cute. And so the person watching them leaves, and so they go outside and they have like a conversation about gods and stuff like that. And he's like, "Our trade's over after tonight. I guess this is goodbye." And that's when she's like, "Wait," like she does call him back, and like she's like, "Join me, like stay with me, like let's do this together." And she's like, "Be good with me," and he's like, "I'm too far gone for that, sweetie." And then he's just like, "Deuces," and I'm just sitting there, and I'm like, and that's when she's internally like, I wanted to ask his name. I wanted to ask him anything just to get him to stay. And I'm just like, fuck my life.
Yeah, I was also just like, ah.
Yeah, like that. Like it's so subtly cute. It's so subtly cute.
And one of the things as well, I forgot about this until just now. He like from the very first scene, he's called her love.
Yeah, he calls her like pet names.
Yeah. So when he's just like, he's like, sorry, love, you got your life, I got mine, we're done, type thing. But you could even tell, and it's not even that the narrator changed how he said it, but you could just tell, just based on his own development in it, that he would have been saying that love, not with the same contempt he said it in the first scene.
Yeah, like
It wasn't
you can
it
tell
wasn't a
he doesn't.
nickname, it was a pet name now.
Yeah, he doesn't want it to. Like he doesn't want to leave her because even the first chapter, first paragraph, in the next chapter, he's just like, it's too late for me to go with her. Like she doesn't need me. Like all this stuff, and I'm just like, fucking kill me. And he's like, well, now I gotta go murder Alaric. I'll see y'all later.
Yeah, but before, because she walks off before he does, and before he leaves the outside bit where they are, he pulls a lock of dark hair out of his jacket with a note with the time and location of where he told her to be.
Yeah.
And sends her off with a hawk. And with that bit, because we're not supposed to know what it means yet, and I'm just like, it's written to make it sound like he actually is turning on her type thing, or he's sending her into a trap.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we're supposed to be concerned about, but I was
no,
like, no.
I can't
I was
be.
more just curious. I'm like, who the fuck is he sending that to?
Yeah, I was like, nope, the bitch is in love with her. No.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't fucking buy it. Well, because it's, like I said, the thing is, I adore tropes, and I especially adore tropes that are done well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the thing, like, is my thing. I know you're not supposed to do tropes, and that's why I love them, because if you can do a trope and you can pull it off, I fucking stand. I stand all the tropes. Because they're tropes for a reason, and they're tropes because when they're done well, they're so good. And like the bad boy who's like in love with someone is just so I'm like, he's not gonna do it, motherfucker. He's not gonna do it.
But like, I don't think I've ever read a trope-free book though. It can't be done.
No.
Yeah, no.
So you just need to embrace the trope and do it well.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Tropes get a bad rap because the thing is, you can make a trope and you can twist it and you can just have fucking fun with it. Like, as writers, have fun with your tropes because they are fun and you can make them fun. And I think we should be having more fun with tropes. Fun with tropes, book club with Bay.
And
I love them. I'm sorry. I can't help it.
And the bad boy betrayal trope thing in this, because this happens as well. She later thinks he betrayed her and sent her into a trap and everything. We have the saddest, like, usually I'm just like, no, usually in a lot of books with that, it's just like, no, you're a fuckwit. He's being mean because he loves you type thing or whatever. Yeah. This one, because we're also in his head, or like next to his head, with X-ray vision, we know that he didn't trap her. But also though, we don't blame her for thinking that.
Yeah, because he is a con man.
And you can see how she's come to that conclusion because she can add 1 and 1 and it equals 2. But in this case, someone did some funky math and it equals 3 in this scenario.
Yeah, right. But it's set up well, and so it all works. So when it's all done really well,
it's a reasonable conclusion.
You're like,
and also when she comes to that conclusion, it's not far after until she's proven wrong by it. So it's not like you're sitting there for 10 chapters, like, well, like, no, it's like, I think it's this exact same chapter that, like, she gets rescued because of him.
Right. So it's paced. It's also like, I think this is another thing we haven't mentioned. The pacing in this book is great, I think.
Yeah.
The pacing is really good. Like, you're not left with bullshit for long. So like that, for example, you're like, I get it.
Yeah. Well, also, like, in between the first and second appearance at the playpen, there was 3 days in between that. But we just glossed over those 3 days because they weren't important. They were planning the whole time. Irrelevant. So we linger in the moments where we need to, and we bypass the moments we don't. And ultimately what Bay said, the pacing is good.
Yeah. You know the pacing is good when we're not keeping track of the days.
Yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, I think we've been in this world for 2 weeks.
Yeah, by the end of it, it's about 3 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they both, in their internal dialogue, they're like, I can't believe I changed so much and grown so accustomed to this other person in only a matter of like a few weeks. About each other.
My headphones just did a funky again.
Oh no.
I need new ones. I'm sick of this.
When we do merch, it's just going to be like, oh no, my headphones. Rip headphones. That's what it's going to be. You're going to have one. That's going to be a t-shirt. I'm sorry. Your pain is going to be turned into merch.
Yeah, it's fixed now. Okay.
I don't know if she heard that.
I heard the last part of that. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Because that has become a staple.
It happens every stream. You can't. I know you're like, I need new AirPods. I'm like, you can't get them because then it'll stop happening.
I want to get, and this is changing the likelihood of me getting them because I go to sleep with my left headphone in because I'm either listening to something or watching something. My left ear gets really, really sore, and that doesn't happen with the ones that have like the little rubber bit that sit inside further in.
Yeah.
So I want to get AirPod Pros now.
Yeah.
And I don't think Stixie's going to let me because they're an extra $100, and he hates that type of headphone. So he's also got a personal bias. So he's not going to let me spend $350 on a pair of headphones that he hates. So I don't think I'm getting new ones anytime soon. So it's fine. And even if I do, I'll keep my shitty ones for the streams, okay? Come out.
Think about the
meme.
streams. So we get a flashback of when he meets Alaric, and he originally wanted Alaric's help to kill his father for a reason that we don't know yet, that we find out pretty soon. And he's using Anna as his bargaining tool in present day, and so then he tries to like kill him, and turns out he's been there's a flesh affinity nearby that like stops him, and then our boy gets taken again.
Yeah, kidnapped again. There's lots of kidnapping in this.
It's
so, and then what happens with Anastasia?
Yes.
How is it? Coast. Princessa.
Yeah.
Yes. She goes and she's like, "Oh look, the alchemist," and she's like, and she goes and stands near him and makes his blood do a thing, and she's like, "Follow me." So then he follows her. He follows her to this secret room thing that she got told how to get to and how to get in and get out of in the secret passage. And she's like, "Why did you kill my father?" And he's like, "I did kill your father, but I didn't mean to." And she's like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "Well, my mind was being controlled and I was forced to do it. I intentionally killed your mother, but I did not mean to kill your father." And she's like, Who made you? And he's like, "Your aunt."
Yee.
And
dun dun dun.
The aunt I was a bit sus on as well when she like had the flashbacks and like her aunt was like her biggest comfort after her mom died.
Yes.
And all that stuff. I was just like, the aunt seems too good to be true.
Yeah. And she finds out there's a cure for the poison that's killing her brother right now. And at this point, they're getting out, but she's already convinced. She's like thinks that Ramson was working for the Lark the entire time that they were together.
Yeah. And she's taking the alchemist back with her so he can confess.
Yes. So they're gonna go to the palace.
Yeah, but she gets out there and the carriage is waiting for her, and she turns around, and it's not him, but the tortured dude that tortured her for 10 years.
Yeah, and she gets stabbed.
Yep. So and then we wake up and she's like filled with the poison that neutralizes her magic. So she can't do anything, and he's like, "Mwahaha, we have you now, but your aunt wants you on Team Us because you are Aphrodite too, and we will rule the world and enslave the humans."
Yeah. And she's like, I don't see how that's any better, but okay. No. I will never join you. And she finds out her brother is going to abdicate the throne because he's ill.
Yep, and then he'll die in 5 days. And
Yes.
5 days later.
Yes, he's going to abdicate in 5 days. He also tells her that Ramson's dead. She's like, that shookens her, but she's like, I can't think about that right now. I can't do it. I don't have time.
And that's when she realizes, no, he didn't betray me.
Because Wind Wraith, aka Lynn. Yeah, Lynn, but breaks in. Yeah, and she reveals that Ramson bought her contract and ordered her to protect Anna, which.
But we learned that he grew though as well, because he's like, look, you can have your contract back with no obligation, or we could trade it and you can protect her.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, so your part's done. And she's like, no, I was led to you for a reason, so now I am your sword.
Yeah.
I was like, all in.
And then meanwhile, we were with Ramson, and he's thinking about Jonah, and so like how Jonah got killed. And we see his dad. His dad didn't give a fuck about him or his mom and like stuff like that.
Yeah, he's a bastard child.
Yeah, and so his mother died, and I think Jonah was stealing medicine for her, or he said he was.
Yeah, no, she she got sick with something that comes from contaminated food.
Yeah.
And there's an antidote, but because in the country that they're from, more or less all of the medical supplies are reserved for the Navy. I'm guessing it's like a sea-surrounded nation.
Yeah.
Because it sounded like as well, like not just her, because her father's the admiral of the entire Navy, but it also sounds like he's also kind of then by default in some way, shape or form in charge in general. So if he's not in charge of the country, he's at least pretty close to being in charge.
Yes, their kingdom's on an island.
Yep, and it feels like a bit of a military war.
Yeah.
But anyway, all of the meds and all the resources and everything are reserved for the Navy. And Jonah's like, oh, well, there's medicine in the thing, because he's heavily into politics and all that stuff. And then he's like, no, I'll ask my father. He'll save mother. Father, save mother. And he's like, why would the fuck do I give a shit about your mother? No, bye. So then they're like, let's steal the meds. So then they go to steal the meds.
Yep. And then his father orders Jonah's execution.
Yeah, because Jonah takes the blame for it all.
Yeah.
And he said, no, we're taking the meds to sell, because if he was saying we're taking the meds for his mum, then he would take the blame, not Jonah.
Yep.
And Ramson can't bring himself to even speak. Like he keeps trying to speak, but he just can't force the words out. And then he gets to watch his best friend be executed in front of him.
Yep. Very sad. Very, very sad. And then
he's like, Dad, why did you do that? And he's like, nothing. And you are my son. I don't give a fuck if it was your idea. He's dead and everyone's happy. Bye.
Yep.
So then he ran away and ended up getting over to this country.
Yep. And then he gets tortured for a while, and the alchemist ends up coming to heal him. And this is when he finally realizes that Anna is the princess.
Yes.
And this is also when he realizes that essentially he's in love with her. where he's like, love really does make people weak, like, because
That was his
I'm a
fault.
weak bitch. Like,
Yeah. And so he's like, well, we have to go help her type thing.
yeah,
Because she's also pissed at the alchemist as well because he betrayed her again. But the issue with the alchemist is her aunt can control people's minds.
yeah,
So she took over his mind and made him poison her father for months. And then,
yep,
yeah. And then because she tried to kill him when she walked in on him killing her father. And that broke his, like, the aunt's control over his mind. And that's something that she calls back to later. But yeah, no, he's kind of just been a pawn that's been pushed around this board against his will type thing. Initially, it was not against his will, but then he realized that she was corrupt. She wasn't doing it for the greater good. And tried to back out, and she's like, no, you don't. I got you. So now he's trying to make amends because he feels bad.
So Anna and
Oh yeah, you go.
Anna and Lynn get to the palace, and they're trying to break into the city and get to the. A cat just like grabbed my sleeve. Excuse me. Then they're trying to get to the palace, but the Jaeger that took May is here with the torturer, and she starts crying, and it's just not a good time, man. And so she yeets into the river.
Yes, oh, that's right. The torture dude, he's an Aphonite too, and his affinity is for fear. And she had said to Lynn when Lynn rescued her a few days beforehand, you know, I can't be as brave as you. I get too scared. And she's like, you can only be brave when you're scared. And she remembers that, and she's like, nope, I'm not going out like this. So she faces her fears and jumps into the river.
Yep.
And Ramson's there, and he sees it all happen, and he's like, "No, my baby!" And he jumps into the river.
Yes, exactly. No, my baby, and jumps into the river to go get her.
So he's like, "Nope, we got to stay underwater long enough for them to think we're dead," type thing, because archers are firing at him. So then he lets the river carry them a bit upstream, and then he drags her out, and she's dead. She's drowned.
CPR.
And so he CPRs, and she coughs up water, and she's fine now. And he's like, we need to get in. And she's like, I know a way. It's how they used to dispose of the bodies when we killed people here. So then they have to climb up a tunnel in the side of the castle because it's for dropping, not climbing. So they have to climb up rocks.
Yes, after they have like a 20-minute embrace.
Yes. And
Like,
Lynn made it into the castle. It's the coronation night of the aunt as well, where her brother's going to abdicate and whatever. And their plan was she was going to go and confront Auntie while Lynn went and got the antidote and the poison out of the apothecary. Yeah, I said it right. Excellent. So Lynn's in there. Lynn's in play. And then, so they manage to sneak in and get up, and then they get confronted by the guards,
Alaric,
that's right.
Yep. Yeah.
And he's like, "Mwahaha, I win again." And they're like, "No, you don't, not today." And he's like, "But I have my things here." And she's like, "No." And he did a
they start fighting, and it's really well done here because she, like, what she does is she, like, halts their movement, and he, like, murders, and then, like, that's their dynamic, and it's so good. So
they
good.
work together. They're a team. They're equals, and that's how it should be. That's how a healthy relationship works.
I know, right? You equally murder people together.
Yes, like she's not very physically strong, but she still has other things she can add in a fight. So they just use each other's strengths, and it's good.
And it works really well.
Yes.
Yeah, I like it.
Also, the other thing that I just noticed is that we don't get like a girl power moment in this,
which is good. We don't, like, for example, in Buffy, we don't need to be told that Buffy's badass because Buffy shows us regularly.
Well, yeah, I know. It's like you don't need to be told. It's just I just like noticed it just hit me. I was like, we don't actually get told that she's a powerful female character. Like,
because she is just a powerful female character.
Do you know, like, okay, very important for people out there to know. If you want people to know your character is strong, you don't need to say it.
Just show it.
If you have a strong character, you do not need to even say, like, even people don't even need to think it.
Yeah.
Because it's just in front of them.
Yep.
It does not have to be verbally acknowledged in the book at all.
So the Jaeger mobilizes her and like tries to put down a marble like column, and he pushes her out of the way and then like pins her to the ground. He's like, "You go now." And she almost, I think she almost kisses him. In my brain, she almost did because it described it.
Yeah, because the marble is also wrapping its way around his leg, like a ball and chain type thing.
Yeah.
And he's like, "You gotta go," and she's like, and then that's where there's the "Don't you die on me, con man."
Yeah, that's so cute. And then she runs into some guards that she knows from her childhood. It's a lieutenant and a capitan. I don't know their names, so I'm not going to try. Huh?
Because the capitan that she's asking about, he wasn't there.
Oh, well, he comes in later, right?
Yeah, because he's the one that helped her escape the dungeon.
Yes, that's right. But, I mean, obviously she does know people that live there because up until a year ago she did. And she gets into the throne room and, like, all the council's there, like, everyone's there. And like, her aunt's standing next to her brother who, like, doesn't recognize her. And so she openly accuses the aunt of murdering bitches.
You murdered bitches, motherfucker. That's exactly the line from the book.
Yeah, and the aunt's just like, "How could you say this about me?" And then when she realizes she can't guilt her out of it, she's like, "Arrest her!" And they start moving towards her, and she's like, "Oh, fuck, what do I do?" And then she remembers what the alchemist said. And she's like, maybe he was telling the truth. So then she seizes control of her brother multiple times until, I think, the third time's the charm.
Yep.
His mind breaks free, and he's like, "Stop!" Because that's right as well. Because she was like, the aunt was like, "Continue with the coronation," and she's like, "No, you can't do that because
legally,
legally you've been accused of treason." She's like, "Yeah, well, guess what? You're accusing me of the treason that you're currently accused of, and a criminal can't make an accusation in legal standing."
Yeah.
So continue.
And then some guy's like, "No, she can make this accusation." And then so she finally breaks through to her brother, and her brother's like, "I abdicate the throne to my sister." And I was like, "Fuck yeah, bro." Yeah.
Yeah. And she's like, "Ugh," and so fight ensues again.
Yep.
And she sees Torture Dude sneaking up behind bro, and she's like, "No!" And slow-mo runs to him, and he gets stab-a-doodle. And she's like, "No," gets there, and he's like, "Promise me, tell mom and dad I'll tell mom and dad," and then he dies.
And meanwhile, our buddy Ramson gets stabbed in the chest with a fountain pen. And Lynn comes to the rescue to hold them off, and he's like, "I gotta get in the throne room, like, I have evidence, like, all this stuff." And he's like, internally, he's like, "I'm going to live until I get to her. Like, I will live until I get to her, and then fuck me, right? Like, I don't care. I just need to get in there." God.
So they get in, saying, "You killed the emperor!" Rah, rah, rah. And they're like, "No." And she's like, "I'm the empress." And she's like, "No, I'm the empress." And and
we're all the empress.
Yep. And then
we are Ferdinand von Heir.
Yes, we are.
And then alchemist dude rocks up, and he's just like, "Have some poison." Mwahaha. And she's like, "How dare you do this to me?" Like, but in her head, because she can't move or anything.
Yep.
And she can't move. And then aunt's like, "Is she dead?" And he's like, "Yeah, she is dead." And she's like, "I'm not dead." And he's like, "It's paralysis poison. Shut up."
Yep.
And she's like, "Okay, I guess I'm dead." And this is where Ramsay comes in and he's like, no! And he's all
Dude, it is so fucking cute. Because he really thinks she's dead. And he's like cradling her and he's just like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. And she's like, bitch, I'm not dead. You can't kill me. I'm a bad bitch. Like,
and she's like, motherfucker, could you be like less dramatic, please? This is ridiculous.
she's like, I'm right here, brother.
And she's like, you acting like a motherfucking idiot. Stop it.
You're too clingy for me, my guy.
It's just like, this is insane. Like, you, like, what the fuck? I thought we was chill. And that's exactly what she says.
Yes.
Right in her head because she's paralyzed.
Yes. Yes.
Just let this queenie hoe.
Yep. And then Aunt is like, I am Empress now.
Yep.
Take the dead body to the dungeon.
And take Ramson with her, yeah.
Yeah. I guess because we better make sure we lock the dead body up.
No, I don't think she says to take the body there. Someone else does. No, the alchemist does.
Oh, okay.
The alchemist, like, I want to run tests on her, take her to the dungeon.
That's right. Yep. Okay. So they get taken to the dungeon, and then when the poison wears off, she wakes up and she's like, "Oh, I'm in the dungeon again! Yay!" And
It's
then
like, wow, deja vu.
And then she looks up, and Ramson's standing there with her Capitan and
Her Capitan!
and
a lieutenant, I think.
Yep, that she ran into before, and they're like, "We're here to free you, Princessa." And he's like, and Ramson's just like, and she's like, "Hi, con man," and he's like, "Hi, witch," and they're like, "How dare you!"
And then they call her by her proper title, and he's like, she's Anna, dude. Like, no, fuck off.
And he's like, no. I don't think I will.
Yeah. I love Transcend's titles, motherfucker. So they escape out of the same tunnel thing that they climbed up before. And they're like, and they're going, because the aunt has taken by the council. She's like, it is no longer a constitutional monarchy. It is now just a monarchy.
Yes.
Everyone's team her under threat of death, I guess, and they run off to join the revolution. Lynn as well. Lynn gets into a fight with one of the guards, and then he's about to end up killing her, and he's like, "Why didn't you fight better? Like, I could tell you're holding back." She's like, "Well, you weren't coming at me to kill me, and it would have been wrong for me to then try and kill you."
Yeah.
And he kind of hesitates, and then she runs away, and he lets her. And then she learns how to fly again because she's a wind person, and they fly.
Yep. And she
flies away
to unknown lands.
So there's hope that Lynn might. So they use the hawk again to get a message to her. She's
the final chapter is really cute.
They almost kiss again. Can they just kiss already?
They're like holding hands, and they're just like chilling there holding
I'm okay with it. I'm like, no, don't kiss. Drag it out.
See,
I'm not. I'm like, bang it out, guys. Just
honestly, their first kiss better be fucking like earth shattering after all this weight.
I know, right? And so he's like, "So are you gonna go?"
I'm like, somebody better explode. Somebody, because she's She's a blood aphanite. Like, some human being better explode when they kiss for the first time, or I'm gonna sue.
You know what would be hilarious, right? You know how like this, like guaranteed you guys have at least one of these guys in the past. You have all this tension with, and then you just kiss, and it's just weird, and it's just not enjoyable, and that's it. No more tension ever again.
Yeah,
you know.
That would suck.
What if it's like that, and she ends up with Yuri?
No,
I would
be mad. I would leave a bad review on Goodreads.
Honestly, you know what that reminds me of? Like, what should have happened? Caroline and Stefan.
Yes. Like, even if it wasn't after the kiss, like they get drunk or whatever, they have sex, and then the next day they're just like, "What the hell did we do?"
Like,
Caroline and Stefan, and then Caroline should have been like, "I should be with Klaus all along," and then it would have been fine.
And now that will never happen.
I know, because Caroline and Stefan were really cute up until the time that they got together, and then I was like, I don't ship it anymore. This is weird. It's so weird.
But I'm just pissed that Caroline and Klaus. Do they have a ship name? What is their ship name?
Claraline.
Okay, Caroline and Klaus.
There's not much. It's or either that or
It'll
it's
never
out.
happen now. And it makes me sad.
And you know why? Because Joseph Morgan and whoever the fuck plays Elijah, they were like, we just kind of don't feel like doing it anymore, so we're just gonna kill the characters. And I was like,
but they didn't have to kill them. They could have ended the series, and Hope could have communicated to Daddy Dearest via letter. That could have been a thing that happened.
it's not like Caroline's in Legacies either.
And she runs the fucking school. It's her school. She opened it.
They still could have gotten together. It could have been fine. Stefan was dead.
I would have been fine if they were together off screen. I didn't even have to see it happen. I just needed to know that it happened. Instead, she's going to live forever. He's dead.
It was supposed to be however long it takes.
Now Caroline has to die.
It was supposed to, like, however long it takes, okay?
Yeah, but now Caroline has to die, and then her and Stefan are going to have to, like, work out, no, they're not meant to be together in the afterlife. And then she's going to have to find her way back to Klaus in the afterlife.
It's going to be bullshit. Because it was supposed to, because it was perfectly set up. Because it was like, Tyler's your first love, but I'm going to be your last. And it was like, yes, I fucking stand. But then, no, it's fucking bullshit. It's bullshit and I hate it.
Let's go back to the book now.
Sorry. I feel the need to talk about that every time I get the chance.
So he's like, are you going to join Viva la Resistance? And she's like, yeah, but we could use a ex-Navyman with us. And he's just like,
yes, you could.
He's like, yeah. And so she, like, starts examining his hotness. And he's doing the cute thing where he looks at her like no one else or anything else exists. And her heart flutters. And, like, they're just so into each other.
And they get closer and closer and closer. And then she's like, wait, we're still really close to the castle. We better gate. Bye.
Yeah. And then she's like, I will free my people and take back my throne. The end.
Yes. And not gonna lie, I didn't realize that there was a sequel coming until after I finished. I'm like, that better not be how it fucking ends. There better be a sequel. This is not how you end a story, Amélie. But it's
God damn it. Focus. Thank you.
part one. I can live with it being the end to part one. It's a very good end to part one.
Yes.
Yeah, I liked this book.
I like this book.
Initial adventure / quest / mission is accomplished, and it sets up quest 2.
It does.
And especially like for a debut,
it was pretty good.
Really good. So,
hopefully
and
book 2 doesn't let us down.
Yeah, like I really hope so, because it's hard to find like authors where you feel like everything's well done.
Yeah, no,
and it feels like they give a shit.
Yeah. And well, like, it's pretty obvious she does give a shit as well because of all the
controversy around it, and she still published it.
Well, not just that, but you can tell that every aspect of it was researched.
And then also, like, every little beat mattered and served a purpose. So, like, even at the times when they were separated, served a purpose for them, like, growing when they got back together.
Yeah.
And so, like, even when they were separated, it wasn't frustrating. Like, everything felt calculated, and, like, it mattered when it happened. And so, I'm really rooting for the sequel, because
I am too.
I am just hoping that she remembers that there is a mole in the Resistance. I am hoping that is something that she remembers, because otherwise, that was a major plot point. Like, that changed the course of the book with that happening.
Yeah.
So it's not an irrelevant event.
Yep.
Yeah, so we'll just have to see. But I am rooting for this
I think it's
because
the lady. I think it's the fortune teller lady. And it's to help her get to her son.
True, she is looking for her son.
I'll have to reread it, honestly.
Yeah, there's a lot in the
Yeah,
book.
that or it's someone that we haven't met yet,
Yeah.
but will be a big part of the next book.
Yeah. But I really hope that the sequel's good because
It'll be very disappointing if it's not.
yeah.
Yeah.
I want it to be good. I want like a new series that's really good.
Yeah, like I know we had this discussion before, and while it's technically YA, it didn't read like YA.
Yeah, it didn't.
Didn't feel YA.
No.
It was very good.
Nope. So Thursday, we will be continuing the Bloodline series with Fiery Heart.
Yes.
Which is the 4th book in the Bloodline series.
And this book has one of my favorite book quotes of all time. And it's not the quote, it's just the context and everything. And also how the narrator says it.
Okay. I'm excited.
Yeah.
And then next week, we will be concluding the Gamble Brothers
Thank
series.
God.
Thank God. Thank God
Yep.
that shit's over.
Luckily, it was only 3 books.
Honestly, if it had been more than 3 books, I think I wouldn't have tapped out because it was Jenny, but I would have insisted, I think, on a power week just to get it over with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I don't want to stretch this shit out. Like, honestly, I think next time we do like a Jenny,
We might power it. Because these were short.
like we could have power done this and it could have been over.
We could have done all 3 books in a week and not struggled to do it.
Yeah. And I think next time we might.
That's fine. We live and we learn.
That would only with her like her Jalen books, not her Jenny books, because her Jenny books are longer.
That's what I mean. Like her romance stuff, like we could have yeeted that off a cliff and just been done, but we already didn't do that, so that's okay.
You live and you learn.
You live and you learn. But we will be blessedly done with the Gamble Brothers series. Thank fucking God.
Yes.
Boy, do we stand that.
Yes, because honestly, I really give 0 fucks about Chandler's love life.
Yeah, I really don't. So I have made some updates to the website. So if you want to see
Yes, it looks so good.
Yeah, so there is a book club page where you can get like the links to all of the playlists. I accidentally spammed you guys in Discord today. Next time I do a mass move over, I will turn the Discord bot off so that it's not notifying you every time there's an upload when there's 7 uploads in a row. I'm very sorry about that. Hashtag whoops. I do apologize. That was an accident. But I've been moving a lot of the streams over, and so on the Trust J. Martin website, I will just go ahead and share my screen just so you guys can see this, see what there is.
It looks really good
on here. Let me. I was like, how do I do it? Okay, I figured it out. I'm dumb. It's cool. So, so on here there's book club, and if you just go to book club, you can actually see like where you can find all of the links to the playlists. So you can see everything that we've done. We've done a lot, and we've done more than this.
We just haven't put it all up yet.
We just haven't put it all up yet. So we've done more than this. Yeah, we've done more than this, and we haven't put it all up yet. And if you go to up next, you can actually see what we're doing next. You can
bodyguard.
Yeah, I know. So you can see, so you can more easily see what's happening next. And this will be updated super regularly. So every time we do something new, this will get updated, and that way it's always up to date when it gets updated. That was a sentence. I'm an author. So
editors.
Yeah, so if you and also I'm keeping the blog on the website updated as well. So there are all sorts of ways to keep up with us because we read a lot of books. So if you're interested in good book week or bad book week, it's all there. And also with the old book club streams, like if you missed them, God, they're old school. And some of the earliest ones, we're not even using cameras yet.
I think you're right.
I looked at them, we're not. They downloaded so fast because there's no footage, it's all audio. It was actually really nice. They downloaded and uploaded super fast. It was really great. And then like the later ones, it was like, forever in a day.
Yeah.
So
we also still need to finish Shifters as well. We haven't, like, that's one thing we're going to have to go through as well. We'll work out if there's any unfinished series that we intend to finish.
Yes.
Because I know you rage quit the Immortals, and I rage quit the Revenant.
You rage quit Die for Me, yes.
Yes.
That's so sad.
I couldn't. I tried so hard, babe. I can't do it.
Addie and I might finish that.
I'm fucking game. I would love to reread those books.
Yeah, did we do the first and the second? Or
Yes, we did the first and the second, and then we stopped. So we would just have to, Addie and I would just have to do the third one. And we can just not torture you with that.
Yep.
Yeah. If there's only one more I can do it. I can.
If you want to add it next
The
week.
second one was the biggest lull.
You know what? How about after we finish Bloodlines and Gamble Brothers as well, we just look at our unfinished catalog and finish all them. And then we'll start doing.
Yeah, because like Gamble Brothers won't take us, like that's like a 2 second, it's like nothing. So we could do Gamble Brothers and like third Die for Me book next week.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what we're gonna do next week. Is we're gonna do the Gamble Brothers and the third Die for Me book, which is it If I Should Die or is it Until I Die?
If I Should Die. I looked at my bookshelf.
Okay, it's If I Should Die. So If I Should Die by Amy Plum. Just for a little bit of backstory, the Die for Me series was Addie and I's favorite books as teenagers.
Before I read Outlander, it was still my favorite book.
What?
Said, which is why I tried.
Yes. Yeah. So they were our favorite books as teenagers, and like nostalgia wise, still one of my favorite series.
Yeah.
Just I don't know. It always like gets me gooey. I don't know why. I love the books, but
I do too.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Part of my issue is also probably just like all the names are pronounced, like given the French pronunciations in the audiobook. So instead of Genevieve or Genevieve, it's Genevieve.
Oh, I was talking to her about that. I was like listening to Genevieve hurt.
Sauna's aunt is named Genevieve, so I've heard it a lot.
Yeah, but like, there's like multiple characters that have like that, like the Jean sounding in their name, and so like it just kept on being like Jean this, Jean that. I'm like, who the fuck is speaking? I'm confused. Too many Jeans. So
yeah,
that was part of my problem.
So I guess so we're doing 3 books in the next week or so, week and a half.
Yeah, because next week is Christmas. So we'll have to work around that.
Yep, and more bookkeeping stuff.
Yeah, we'll work out scheduling, and
we'll work it out.
Actually, on the up next thing, I will put on that page under the book images. I'll actually go ahead and put like the dates of when those streams are going to happen.
Nice,
just so you guys can be aware of what's going on. But yeah, anyway, with all of that in mind, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. And we will see you guys on